It's Thursday, the 15th of February, 2024, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the AM show. My name is Sweetie Abochi, and I do this with Benjamin Akakpo. Valentine's Day is over, and the talk of town today is the major shake-up from the ministerial departments. President Akufo-Addo is also not in the country, but we'll get into all that later in the show. However, this is the lineup. In a few minutes, I'll serve you the news, and then right after, Benjamin and I will do the news review. After that, we get into AM Sport. Mumbarak Haruna, of course, will be here to present his segment, and then we get into the big stories. Now, the finance minister has been relieved of his duty after 7 years at the helm of Ghana's economic activities. He'd been replaced by Mohamed Amin Adam. This and many highlights make up President Akufo-Addo's Valentine shake-up. Now, the Opposition National Democratic Congress says Vice President Dr. Bawumia has nothing to offer Ghanaians. Today, we'll discuss these with Dr. Dixon Adumakukisi, who's MP for Anya Soutum, and Cletus Dapilah, MP for Jirapa. So stick with us. Also on AM Exclusive, today we host a man who's seeking to lead Ghana into the promised land. He's proposing a policy called e-credit to make Ghanaians financially stable. George Chumbarima Edu is our guest today on AM Exclusive. Also later on in the show, we'll tell you about the Inter-School Reading Quiz. This is an annual competition organized by Public Clubs in collaboration with UNESCO as part of activities to celebrate Accra's selection of UNESCO's World Book Capital for 2023 to promote literacy skills and foster a love for reading, among others. Now, this quiz provides a platform for students to showcase their reading comprehension, vocabulary, and fluency abilities in a fun and competitive environment. More details later on in the show, and then later we get to open the phone lines where you can join the conversation, whether in studio or on social media. We are Joy News, your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Welcome to the AM show. Time now for the news. This is the AM News with me, Sweetie Abochi. Let's get into the details. Northeast Regional Minister Idana Zakaria has disclosed that the Inspector General of Police has agreed to deploy more personnel as part of measures to combat increasing robberies in Walewale and other parts of the West Mamprusi municipality. Mr. Zakaria says this new arrangement is in response to a request made by the Regional Security Council following the latest attack on Monday in Walewale, where one person was killed and about 8 others suffered gunshot injuries. The minister assures the perpetrators are being pursued and will soon be arrested to face justice. Correspondent Eliasu Tanko has more in this report.
The attack was said to have occurred at about 6:40 p.m. and was carried out by 3 armed men who arrived on a single motorbike. According to eyewitnesses, the gunmen first opened fire sporadically at the lorry station before turning their guns on a mobile money operator who was seated nearby. After snatching an undisclosed amount of money from the mobile money operator, the robbers fatally shot and stabbed him as he was fleeing from them. 8 persons, including a 6-year-old child, were also injured by stray bullets from the indiscriminate shootings by the robbers. The victims were first rushed to the Walewale Government Hospital, but were later transferred to the Tamale Teaching Hospital. As part of his activities, the Regional Minister Idana Zakaria today paid a visit to the victims of the tragic incident. This is Inusa Memunatu. She sells cowpea at the bus station and was hit by stray bullets during the attack. They opened fire on the mobile money operator, but unfortunately, some of the stray bullets came on our way and hit my child and I. The minister also visited another victim, Idrisu Yakubu Baba, who suffered a broken leg and arm after he was caught in the line of fire as he was returning home from an errand. My brother was returning home from an errand when he ran into the robbers. They shot him and he fell from a motorbike, breaking his leg and arm. The leader of the medical staff in charge of the victims, speaking to Joy News, confirmed the death of a mobile money operator, but said the remaining others were responding to treatment.
But unfortunately, he passed on shortly after surgery. So the other three, two are doing very well. They all have surgery, so three are doing very well. One is currently in critical condition, but he's responding to treatment.
The regional minister also offered financial support to the victims and assured them that the police were working hard to arrest and punish the attackers.
If it is armed robbery, they have gone way beyond what we know to be armed robbery. It was just an affront, an attack on the people of the Northeast region. I don't think that is the way to go about things. You shoot everybody aside in the name of robbery. It's an attack on the people.
The minister also urged the residents to cooperate and collaborate with the security services to bring the attackers to justice.
I can give every assurance that the police have started investigations. They cannot get to the bottom of the matter if we, the people, are not ready to volunteer information. We can only fish out criminals if the people who are with them are ready to give information that will lead to their arrest.
Mr. Yidana further revealed that the IGP has sanctioned the deployment of more police personnel to help combat the robbery crisis in the Wale Wale area.
And the immediate response from the dynamic IGP, Dr. Dapilah, is that they will send some more policemen to beef up security in that area. Then number two, Regional Security Council will hold an emergency meeting. And this time around, it will not just be limited to only members of RESEC. We will involve the municipal security committee. We will involve other opinion leaders just to try to get them to also support us in our work.
From Wale Wale, Elias Sutanko reporting for Joy News.
Banks, telecommunication companies, and general legal counsel, among some 150 institutions owing rent to the University of Ghana, amounting to some $1.3 million. Now, the amounts captured in the Auditor General's report are debt the institutions had accrued from using various facilities and rent spaces on the University of Ghana campus as of October 2022. The infractions came up when management of the public universities appeared before the Public Accounts Committee hearing yesterday. There's more in the following report.
6 public universities appeared before the Public Accounts Committee sitting on Wednesday to answer questions on infractions captured in the Auditor General's 2022 report. The infractions include procurement breaches, unearned salaries, tax evasion, among others. It emerged during the hearing that at least 115 institutions, including telecommunication companies, owe the University of Ghana over $1.3 million in rent.
Noting that this was a point of difficulty, I set up a special task force to ensure the retrievals of these monies. And so the Director of Finance, who was a co-chair, will provide the details so far.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the receivables, the Ghana CD ones, we have been able to recover 594,028, leaving an outstanding of 691,010 cedis. With the dollar amounts, we've been able to recover 1,033,495, leaving an amount of 1,161,457. For the banks, most of them have redeemed themselves.
But then there are other very solid institutions in here, like these telcos that are still owing, like Airtel, Tigo. I see them here. I see Taser Company also owing utilities and all that. I see Village Canteen, Tibia, and all these. Are they still owing in your books?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. These are tenants, and it's an ongoing transaction that happens on a daily basis. We are using all options. We even still work with them, so you pay up and then you incur debt, but this is what is happening, and we are following them and expect exploring all options. Those that are proving difficult, we have actually handed them over to the legal counsel to also explore other avenues. It's been quite difficult, but we are doing all we can to use all options available to us.
After listening to the explanations from the university's management, chairman of the committee, James Kluchi-Aveji, insists the money must be retrieved.
My concern is that the debt should not be growing. It should be what? Declining. If it's declining, it means that we are yielding more result, better result, than if it's growing. Okay? All right. So continue to make the effort to recover the money.
Another infraction was the University of Ghana's inability to retrieve some 5 million cedis investment locked up with 5 financial institutions. They have dragged 3 of the 5 institutions to court over the matter.
They sent us a response essentially indicating that the value of our investment has gone down, and that if we were to do any of the investment, we are going to lose about 50%. But this is a decision that has to be taken by the appropriate structure of the university. So this is a matter that we are going to discuss. And then based on the decision that is taken, we'll engage them further and know exactly what to do. Whether we should go for the haircut or we should insist on our pound of flesh.
The invitation from the committee will now push you to do, like previously you were just not bothered. Maybe because you have a lot of cash sitting in your account. 8 million is quite a big amount that can do a lot for the university. So do everything possible to recover the money.
Apparently, the University of Ghana are not the only ones whose funds are locked up. The University of Media, Arts and Communications and the Akenten Apia Menkam University are also chasing UT savings and loans for some 27 million cedis.
Lock-up investment with NDK Financial Services, 9.1 million. The recommendation is that management should take steps, including legal action, to recover this amount from the company. Tell the committee if you have taken any action against the company, NDK Financial Services.
Thank you, Chair. IJ management in 2020 through to 2021 continued to engage NDK to be able to recover some monies. Throughout that period, 100,000 was recovered without any further recovery from the institution.
Surprisingly, all the universities have declared various amounts of profit in 2021 and 2022. The committee resumes on Wednesday to continue hearing. James Aveji's report, read to you.
Now, Joy News apologizes for capturing the 3 financial institutions as defunct in our Prime News last night. Our unreserved apology to the companies and customers. Away from that, experts in the agricultural field across the country are calling for a total reform in Ghana's agricultural sector to improve food sufficiency in the country. Speaking at a thought leadership program hosted by the Alumni Association of Swedru Senior High School, agric scientist Professor Roger Canton emphasized the urgency for Ghanaian farmers to mobilize and demand government intervention in addressing the critical issues facing the agricultural sector.
Ghana relies heavily on food imports due to challenges such as the high cost of agricultural equipment, insufficient funding, poor infrastructure, and climate change, among many others farmers face. At a thought leadership program organized by the Alumni Association of Swedru Senior High School to explore means by which the country can attain food sufficiency, panelists took turns identifying key areas of reforms in the agricultural sector. Agricultural scientist Professor Roger Canton urged Ghanaian farmers to take industrial action to advocate reforms in the agricultural sector.
I'm talking of to form a national union of Ghanaian farmers. This will help us. Currently, what we have are small political-based farmer unions. They are not. You see a small politician hiding behind farmers to benefit. When they go to the minister, instead of talking of farmer, he wants a tractor. He wants this. He wants fertilizer. That is not helping. We want genuine farmer unions that can dictate and demand what they need, so that we come with a strong umbrella when you talk like the EU farmers are doing, the French, Spain, Portugal, all the countries are on. They have used bills and tractors to block parliament, block road to prime minister's houses, and it's working. We can also block Jubilee House. We just come with tractors and block from that side, block here. Nobody can move. They will listen to us.
Associate Professor Kwame J. Frimpong from the Department of Soil Science at the University of Cape Coast emphasized the importance of rebranding Ghana's agricultural sector.
We need to rebrand agriculture. Let me tell you an analogy. When we were at Tech then, there was those of us who did BSc agriculture and our contemporaries who did BSc agricultural engineering. So if you went to Africa and you said you did BSc agricultural engineering, you were hailed. But for those of us who did BSc agriculture, we were seen differently. And I believe that still persists today. So as the number of students who are doing ICT is going high up, the number of students doing agriculture is dwindling fast. So we need to rebrand agriculture.
Lecturer at the Department of Agricultural Economics, KNUST, Dr. Enoch Tam Ejekum, emphasized the significance of subsidizing ICT tools for farmers to make access to information easier.
Subsidies or incentives can be given for farmers to adopt ICT tools. Now, a lot of our farmers have started using Android phones, but there are still more who are using the YAM. So could we subsidize smartphone for farmers? I also heard that teachers and nurses have some specialized data packages for them. I've used some before. But could we do same for farmers? Because the number of farmers in Ghana, I believe, far outweighs teachers and nurses. And if these ones are the ones who feed us all the time, then we need to bridge that information gap so that it will be beneficial to them.
On his part, former head of the Department of Agricultural Economics at UCC, Professor Festus Frimpong, encouraged Ghanaians to consume locally grown produce.
Why can't we eat what we grow? If we eat what we grow, then the farmer will be encouraged to produce more so that we can feed ourselves. But if they produce and we are not eating, there will be glut, and then we'll not be in a position to feed ourselves. Why can't we give our kids plantain chips and then eco juice to go to a farm? If you're able to do that, then we're able to produce the local production, and then we'll be in the position to feed ourselves.
By addressing the key reforms highlighted by speakers at this radio conversation, Ghana can strengthen its food security and build a resilient agriculture sector for the future.
In other stories, a food scientist at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology wants a strengthened collaboration between academia and industry to meet nutritional needs of Ghanaians. Speaking as part of activities to usher in the 6th KNUST Food Festival, Dr. Abuna Boache believes academia should involve industry at the inception of research to achieve the needed outcome.
So academia investigates the science and brings about the inventions. But we need industry to upscale the inventions to meet societal needs. But industry will not invest when they have not been part of the process to know that this is something that is part of our responsibility and our vision. So as we engage in these collaborative discussions and engage in participatory research, then together we can better explore what we have right here in Ghana to meet the needs of the consumer. As we apply the science, we take the investment from industry, and together we meet societal needs.
Innovations in Ghana's traditional foods have become crucial in preventing hunger and boosting tourism. The KNUST will therefore showcase innovations and technological advancements in traditional foods in the 6th edition of the KNUST Food Festival.
So in an era where every culture is exploiting their traditional foods for nutrition and also what we call the food tourism. It is important that KNUST showcases to the world what we have done relating to the innovations in our traditional foods, the inventions and the technological advances we have made. And so that is why this year our theme says innovations and technological advancements in traditional foods, the role of academia and industry.
Mr. Andrews Kwesi Boateng is Registrar of KNUST.
As a university, we will exhibit some of our recent advances in exploring our traditional foods for nutrition and food security. This will support national efforts towards achieving the SDG 2 and 3, that is zero hunger and overall well-being.
Mrs. Emmanuela Boateng, the festival coordinator of the College of Engineering.
To come and see the innovations that are coming from College of Engineering. Among them, we will have some apps that will help us detect adulteration of palm oil that is on the market.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
A non-profit organization, Friends of Adaklu, has introduced an exchange program with a focus on adopting measures towards attaining the Sustainable Development Goals in the Adaklu district of the Volta region. The virtual exchange chapter program involves using the SDG as guidelines to learn about culture and identifying modules to resolve societal challenges. There's more in the following report by Fred Kwame Asari.
The virtual exchange chapter program involved selected students of the Adaklu District Assembly Junior High School in Ghana in partnership with Eastern Middle School in Indiana and Morton High School in Cicero, Illinois, both schools in the United States of America, exchanging ideas among others via the internet. The program seeks to expose the students to the Sustainable Development Goals and its adoption in addressing homegrown solutions in their respective countries. The beneficiaries would exchange knowledge about the two countries, such as cultural values, education, science, history, geography, nature, tourism, environment, agriculture, and societal values. The country director of Friends of Adaklu, Stella Akuda, said the program sets out to help students in Ghana learn about the outside world's approach to finding solutions to their challenges.
In all, what we are looking at is for our kids to exchange culture, to exchange ideas, to learn from other people whilst they also teach them about our culture and activities that we do here. These days, without technology, you will not be able to do a whole lot of activities. And you could see with this virtual exchange chapter program, our kids are able to communicate to people they've never seen before, people they don't know exist, and they are far away beyond the globe.
The beneficiaries in Adaklu were enthused about the program, hoping it would impact their lifestyle, education, social life, and help them develop a mindset of finding solutions to their challenges using local resources.
This class is really helping us because it helps us in ICT, so that when we get into our classroom, it will be easy for us to understand what the teacher is saying.
Through technology, we chat with new friends in the Eastern Middle School in Indiana. They know more about us and we also know more about them. Through this program, we learn a lot from them.
Parents are optimistic Friends of Adaklu's contribution would elevate the social and economic status of the Adaklu district.
Fifie meda jogbe benevinye achwa ma anebia moma ma da silemu eye be wa va sro no pele de vie be nuke obekutepe a eyache ano no vie okpo le dububu ome be wa no nusro ano question bia wo no enye de vie okpe ngogbe yi eye wo do de vie pe chome de ji ana chome ano de vie si eye wa va he nunye
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Adaklu.
That will be all for this morning's news on the AM show. My name is Sweetie Abochi. In a moment, Benjamin and I will be back to do the news review. Please keep watching.
Welcome back on the news review right here on the AM show. Someone was eager to welcome people back.
They'd not seen you this morning.
Exactly.
So I wanted to
Exactly.
you, give you some drum roll. Because,
Our director must have had a different thing going on, and she felt, you know what, let's do it. But you know how it is.
How are you, Benjamin? That's a new tie, isn't it?
It is. Okay. It is. It's part of a gift box I got from yesterday. From Nana Dapila. I'm very grateful. So yesterday it was a pumpkin-colored gift box. Are you taking notes right now?
I'm writing down the name. Yesterday I heard Irabna also. Today is what, Nana? Go ahead. Again.
You heard Irabna from where?
Yesterday was Miriam.
Yesterday was, let me give you the full list. I still recall. Susie, my mother.
Okay.
Susan, my mother number 2.
Okay.
There was Nelly, that's what I said. Then there was Miriam.
Okay.
Then there was Akosia Nyansaland. And who was the other one? Okay, I didn't add Lenin Soy yesterday, so let me add. And I mentioned you as well. You've forgotten that.
Well,
I mentioned
Sweetie
Abochi.
Just to shake up things a little bit. I don't know. I don't know why you added him, because I don't know who is in that category. I don't know in what capacity you were mentioning those names. And so I can't just insert myself in there like that.
Can you imagine this? Can you imagine this one? Anyway, I am rocking Nana Dapilah's Charles Tirrett tie. If you know what a Charles Tirrett is, which I know many of our viewers do. Yeah, really up there. Okay, so let's get a close shot. Let me do this so we can. Yeah.
Okay,
for good reason.
You got
my Charles Tirrett tie on fleek. Okay, and then some lovely perfume. I mean, I'm just mentioning the things I'm wearing today. So I'm wearing the cologne. Joe Malone. I had never. I'm one for perfumes, scents, cologne, and this was the first time I was getting a Joe Malone. So yeah, it will add to my perfumier's cocktail together with the Charles Tirrett tie.
Your Charles Tirrett tie and your cologne.
Yes.
And your beautiful.
You see, this is what we want. It's not just chocolate. Chocolate, you bit dinas. But at least get us what you are seeing.
Individual preferences. All I wanted yesterday was chocolate, and I got a whole box full of it.
Okay. Where's my chocolate?
I'm sorry, it was delivered at home. Oh,
it was delivered at home?
Yes, it was delivered at home. I saw a newsletter on Instagram. A company had written to its employees saying that
they shouldn't
receive gifts and give unnecessary pressure.
I would have wanted to see how they would enforce that. I mean, if I don't know,
perhaps they'll just take the gift and hold it off at the entrance. So
it's fine, but there was the suggestion almost as though you should speak to your loved ones so that they. How would I even know? Yes, last year. So that wasn't Valentine's Day. It was my birthday, but I got a surprise from. How do you expect me to know that someone will send me?
Well,
how am I supposed to know?
You must have an idea who might be sending you a Valentine's Day gift. So perhaps you can just throw it in there.
Some of the people who sent me lovely Valentine's messages yesterday, I had no idea they would probably send me anything.
Oh, okay.
So if such a person decided to send me a gift.
Unlike you, Benjamin, I have 1-2 people who I know might be sending me a gift. So if I was in that company, it's just a matter of putting out there in conversation that, our company says don't send gifts to the office. I'm not expecting.
No, not this company. Let's clarify so people don't go thinking it's.
Oh, but here we're still receiving chocolate. I'm receiving chocolate. Benjamin is looking for another Charles Tirrett tie.
If you can get that, yeah.
Anyway,
I'd appreciate another Charles Tirrett tie. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. My blazer is also Charles Tirrett, so it's quite over you, eh? All right, let's do this. Let's get into the papers. But before we do, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment every weekday, and proudly so. They're offering you, if you're a man, prostate screening for free. If you're a woman, fertility screening for free. All you have to do is reach out to them at any of their branches and on their phone numbers. I'll announce that shortly. But the branches, Accra, Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard, Kumasi, Kronum Abuahia, behind the Angel Educational Complex. Then there's Takrady Anaji Estate, there's Tema Community 22, there's Techiman Hanswa, and Esiaman Zama. Their call lines are 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. End Point Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But now we kickstart with the newspapers. I have the Daily Graphic today and the New Finder, and you can guess what the major stories are about.
Yes. Obviously, we're going to talk about the reshuffle, the president.
Yes, sir.
Convenient exit out of the country immediately after this.
He left number 3, or is it number 2, depending on, because he has said at different times that he could even be.
Number 2, who's saying that he doesn't have as much power to make decisions.
No, the speaker at a point, I mean, number 3, he rubbed it into Osei Chimense's face. He rubbed it in his face. But then there was a time when he even suggested that he could even be number 2 because of certain circumstances. That's why I was. But number 3 had to deliver the message, starting with Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, now replaced by Dr. Amin Adam. But you know, the bit there too, some say with the newfound role of Ken Ofori-Atta, actually, he's become more powerful.
Yes. That's not removing him from office.
So that is actually an upgrade. In fact, it is what's that word in when you are
promotion?
It's a promotion, for Ken Ofori-Atta for all the good things he's done to our economy. He's been promoted. Yeah.
So
he's taken us to and what are some of the gains? He's moved us from a positive GDP to one that was very near the pit of hell. He's got us to the IMF. We've hit record levels when it comes to downgrades from the major ratings agencies. Our currency has hit 16 to the dollar at a point. It's still hovering around 15 plus to the British pound. They say fear currency we get any Great British Pound. What you say? Then pound sterling, actually pound sterling. It gets any. Then what else? Inflation, which is now ticking up again.
Year-on-year inflation is reducing.
Month-on-month inflation.
Cost of things are still as high as
skyrocketing
high.
And he's led us back to the IMF. So in fact, if you look at his score sheet, he's done pretty well to earn that promotion.
So, you know, he's going to sit at the helm of affairs where he now advises government directly. And I think Mustafa Amin has to, you know, run things by him, report to him, because he's a senior advisor on economic affairs at the presidency. That's a big position. So you must have done a lot to merit such a title, such a position. So,
and if Dr. Amin Adam tries to, he gonna say, you know the fear face. You know the fear face. Like, hey, anyway, let's get into the other papers.
I have the Daily Guide, the Ghanaian Times, and the Daily Statesman.
Okay.
Of course, we have, you know, the
usual, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's start from your end.
Let's start from mine. Okay, so after Valentine's Day reshuffle, boldly written on the Daily Guide front paper, Nana flies out after Valentine's Day reshuffle. So the story is on page 3. It says President Akufo-Addo yesterday flew out of the country to an undisclosed destination abroad on official assignment.
Coded.
I mean, we don't need to know where he is. He's done. Let me continue the story. On official assignment after carrying out a much-anticipated reshuffling of his government, the process appears to show the president finally bowing to growing pressure from both party faithful and others to reshuffle his government. The release saw the exit of the much-pursued finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, although we don't know for sure if it's exiting office. He decided to drop the list before he left. Oh, I jumped that. So in his place, he appointed Mohamed Amin Adam, who was a deputy minister of energy. The minister for local government, decentralization and rural development, Kan Kweku Botwe, has also been axed and replaced with his deputy, Martin Ejay Mensah Kosa. The president has also replaced Interior Minister Ambrose Derry with Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Korte and asked Francis Asenso-Boakye to go replace Kwesi Amoako-Atta at the Ministry of Roads. And then Kojo Oppong Nkrumah has been moved to the Ministry of Works and Housing, with Ambrose Derry having been reassigned to the office of the president as Minister of State. I watched a report by Kuku Asante yesterday, and most of the minority members of parliament, parliamentarians in minority, were talking about how if it's possible to reduce the size of government, why isn't it done now? Now that, you know, Ghanaians are still calling for a reduction
downsizing
in the feasibility of this is questionable, because every government that has assumed office since 1992 or so increases the number of ministerial appointments.
Not necessarily, yes, but at some point there are some add-ons, and maybe just to chip in before you continue, you'd also want to find out why oftentimes, and it's come to the fore really around this time because of the number of ministers we had, and of course what we feel is the draw on the national purse. People have asked, so if you can have, like Bawumia is saying, no more than 50, or Mahama is saying no more than 60, why do we sometimes exceed these numbers for a small country like Ghana? You know, that's the major question. So, I mean, I believe it's a question to be raised and an issue to be discussed.
Have we ever had 50, less than 50? Well, Rawlings had 36. John Ejekum Kufuor had about 60.
Yeah, I think from the John Ejekum Kufuor era, then we started shooting up with the numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even John Dramani Mahama did like 80, 88 or 84, I think.
I don't know, 70 something.
So you see, there's an increase.
There's always,
yes, there's always an increase.
But of course, Akufo-Addo took it to another level.
He
crossed 100.
110.
I mean, at a point it was even 120 thereabouts. Yes.
A small country like Ghana, it worries me to think that Great Britain, because you made that reference this morning, they have about 60-something ministers, and they have about 64 million people in the country. We are just about 27 million people. And if this is anything to go by, our history is anything to go by the time we are 2030 or 2036 thereabouts, we would be looking at 200 ministers, unless Dr. Bawumia lives up to, you know, his words and actually reduces. If whoever becomes president next is able to reduce the size of ministers, the size of government, the feasibility of it is what I'm worried about, because I think that these ministerial roles are created to fill a gap. For instance, the Ministry of Science, Technology,
part of it, let's face it, part of it is to create jobs for the boys and girls from both parties.
Yeah.
People have party for a juma. Because if you look at some of these ministers, there are some high quality ones that you can look at and say, look, I'll single out, for example, Dr. Bernard Okoboy. I like him. And it's not just about, he's also pretty professional. He does his work diligently. I don't think it's for nothing that he was made deputy health minister. But you know the dynamics of our politics. Once you lose your MP, your parliamentary race, it becomes tricky for you remaining in government. It's not impossible, but it becomes tricky for you. And once he lost his primary, once he lost the election, then, you know, it was a tough deal for him. I mean, the general election, it was a tough deal for him. But he was sent to the National Health Insurance Authority, and now he's being brought back as substantive health minister, which means he would probably have to go through another vetting, because first he was a deputy when he becomes substantive. For someone like him, following his trajectory, I like him. He's affable, he's reachable, at least to the extent that I know. Some say he's stingy. I don't care, because I don't dabble in those matters with him. And I think, especially because he's also young, and I use young here relatively, right? I'd like to see more of such people in leadership. I've seen others in leadership for good reason, I'll not mention their names, and been disappointed. Others who worked in a certain space and we felt, they are young people and unfortunately I feel disappointed by them, but I'll not mention names. Well, but at least I can laud a Dr. Okoboy and others. So some you would see that, but by and large you can weigh a lot of them, and some will say, by what metrics? You know, there are different ways of measuring them. Some of them, even their utterances, the way they speak, totally unministerial. And we've caught some of them in the past, right? Even in terms of, why has an intern called me and respects we know. We know. So there are so many dynamics to look at. And I feel that if we're really benchmarking them and saying these are apart from the constitutional requirements, I feel a lot of them would not be ministers.
Well, some new names that popped up will have to go through vetting and all that. So let's wait and see if this list will actually be approved. Those who have to go through Parliament. But on the back of that, let me do this story because it connects to what we're talking about. The NPP is commending Akufo-Addo for the ministerial shake-up. The story is on page 6. The New Patriotic Party leadership has commended Akufo-Addo for the ministerial reshuffle. A statement issued and signed by the General Secretary, Justin Kodu-Afrimpong, expresses gratitude to the President of the country. It is close.
Let's clap for Akufo-Addo.
Yes.
He's done well.
Yeah.
How many months to
8 months, 8 or 9 months to go.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's his party, so you don't expect the president of the country on the flag, from the NPP to do something like this and not be commended by his party. Yeah. So they're saying that the president's action, quote, underscores the president's commitment to fostering progress and revitalizing our administration. Continuing, the General Secretary said the NPP continues to express profound appreciation for the dedication and service of those departing from their roles, urging them to continue to bring forth innovative ideas and unwavering dedication to serve the good people of Ghana. There's been a lot of talk about how the president has become an abandoned old man, abandoned because, a lot of people are not, agreeing with
but abandoned old man is a bit. Okuja Dapilah came here yesterday and repeated what the speaker had said, referring to him as a lame duck, and I vehemently disagreed. I don't think the president himself has said, and on this point I'm being very serious. The president himself has said that he is president, he is in charge till January the 7th, 2025, and that is factual. He is in charge. He may not necessarily play the same role he played in the party in the past, because the party, whether de jure or de facto, has a new figurehead in the person of Dr. Bawumia. But I think, he still wields his powers and he's still doing his thing. But maybe he has to play the role of John the Baptist and take a bit of a step back so that Dr. Bawumia will shine more. But my question, though, is this ministerial shake-up, is it Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's shake-up or Dr. Bawumia's reshuffle?
Exactly. So the point I was trying to make then is that if indeed party faithfuls are not happy with President Akufo-Addo at the moment, on the back of this shake-up, with Bawumia also saying that he's going to reduce the size of government, and then the party leadership is saying that this is in adherence or in response to the cry of the people, what exactly do they think the people are asking for? Because if Bawumia is saying that when he is voted into power, he wants to reduce the size of government as response to the cry of the people. And then Akufo-Addo does this reshuffle, doesn't reduce the size of government, but the party leadership is saying that this is a response to what the people are asking for. Where is the connection there?
Yesterday, on the news with Evans Mensah, among others, there was also talk, they spoke to, I've just forgotten his name, he was at the forefront of the MPP caucus in Parliament, asking for the ousting of Ken Ofori-Atta. And he said that, even I remember Evans saying that it had been about a year, and he said, no, it's actually been about a year and a half since we wanted, this, and it's finally come. Look, if you're a watcher of politics or a follower of what happens, you would realize that definitely the MPP membership would not want to make the party look bad.
Yes.
So even they would say, at least it's good at coming at this time. But you ask yourself, under any serious scrutiny, 9 months to elections, or maybe even less, right? What exactly are these people going to be able to come and do? Contracts have been signed, like roads and the rest. You're under an IMF program, stringent regulations. I don't want to use the lame duck term, but literally, not virtually, these people who are coming in will make little to no impact. But I think cosmetically, it may work for the MPP in a way. Oh, finally, Ken Ofori-Atta has been asked to step aside, though he's actually been promoted.
Stepped up, not aside.
Step up,
Yes,
good term. Dr. Okoboy is coming in. I feel more comfortable with Dr. Okoboy at the health ministry compared to Kweku Agyemang-Menu. I feel Kweku Agyemang-Menu has done his bit, but things that I'll keep remembering, how COVID-19 was handled, the vaccines, and for the first time in the Fourth Republic, me hearing that vaccines for children, Yamutu, they were not in existence for, that some of those things left me scarred in terms of his output and his work and some other dynamics in terms of money being paid for vaccines.
Securing vaccines at bloated prices and all that. And La General Hospital, even members of parliament themselves fired him that day when he said that together with Ken Ofori-Atta, they'd secured about 50 million to continue the project of the La General Hospital, but they didn't know where the money was coming from. So he's been, I think Ken Ofori-Atta and Kweku Agyemang-Menu have been the two most talked about, not unpopular ministers that the country has had.
So?
Yes. Because there's always something about Kweku Agyemang-Menu in the health sector, in the health ministry, and Ken Ofori-Atta in the finance ministry. So perhaps removing them from their current position is a way of letting the people know that, well, if you don't want them here, you're not throwing them away completely, but they can serve in other capacities because they're still members of our party. It's just a way to win votes in the coming election, I think.
Well, let's check out other stories.
Yes. Inflation hit 23.5%, Benjamin. This is a marginal
increment.
So this follows the 5 consecutive months of decline with an inflation of 23.2% in December 2023. Now, according to data from the Ghana Statistical Service, the increase in year-on-year inflation was influenced by a sharp surge in non-food items. This includes housing, clothing, transport, while non-food inflation increased to 20.5% in January 2024 from 18.7% in December 2023. So food inflation, however, continued to decline. It fell marginally to 27.1% in January from 28% in December. And for the month-on-month inflation, which is where the problem is, the food inflation stood at 1.6%, while non-food inflation was estimated at 2.4%. Do you think that you are feeling the impact of this reduced decline in the rate of inflation in the country? Have you bought anything, paid for some service that made you feel like, okay, so things are gradually reducing, the cost of living is gradually coming down, Ghanaians are able to breathe a little?
Do you want an honest answer, or do you want me to massage it?
No, I want an honest answer. Brutally.
Absolutely no.
Wow.
No, but that's what I've been fighting. Not fighting, but going toe-to-toe with MPs and others who come here on. Because when they talk about, an inflation year on year, I'm like, don't be intellectually dishonest in a way. Because you know that the fine print is like talking about the macro economy. What does it yield for the micro? I know in economics, it takes time for the macro to trickle down to the micro. But if the micro is not felt, and you're simply putting out macro figures, then you probably don't understand your economics properly, or you don't know what the results are that the people seek. Because, we grew by this, but your pocket has dwindled by that, does not mean anything to the ordinary person. So you can use that same analogy for this bit about inflation and all of that. Since it's been about a year and a half, 2 years, things I've been buying have been going up in price. You know, inflation also is personal.
Yeah.
It depends on what you like to buy.
Yeah.
So if you like to buy things that are imported into the country and all of that, your inflation definitely may be 700% when someone else's inflation is about 200% or 50%. It depends on the dynamics. But the point generally is, look, let's take common items. When was the last time you bought chicken? Fish. Fish, don't go there. Don't even try it. It's crazily expensive. You go and buy other things. And what makes it even worse? The taxes. So yesterday I told you I went out and all of that. You buy a few things and you look at the tax component. You're buying something for how much? Is it 100 and something cedis? I've forgotten the exact, and that was even just part of part of there. And your bill, I think, is it almost 200 cedis, and your tax component is about 40 something cedis.
Yes, it's wild, very wild.
Are you getting that picture?
Yes.
That's about what, 25% of the total bill. So when people come here and they try to, it's very easy to pin them down because it's illogical, I'm sorry, to even suggest that the cost of everything here, the people selling, the people doing this, they translate it. So they push it back to the customer. Like they've said, look, transport fares, if you increase by this, if you say we should pay emissions this, we're going to pass it on to the consumer. Simple. They will not take the hit. So that's the reality. Absolutely. No.
And true, inflation is not the figures they're giving us. Inflation is your pockets, how much you have in your pockets, how much you have coming into your pockets, and then the difference is in taxes. Now, the issue, I watched Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen with Evans Mens on PM Express, and he was also saying the same thing, that inflation is your pocket, and that he was going to propose a private member's bill to remove the taxes, if indeed it is possible to do that. So, as to where or why Ghanaians are being taxed so much, and yet government wants to preach reduction in inflation, yet it's not reflecting in our pockets. It's a song that not many Ghanaians want to hear. Anyway, what do you have, Benjamin?
So I have the Daily Graphic newspaper. New ministers face high expectations. 18 out. Are you very expectant?
Expectant of?
The new ministers. It says new ministers face high expectations.
I've seen some names that I'm not familiar with. So I'm looking forward to seeing if they go.
So you're hoping to see what those people will bring to them.
Yes. Like the new Minister for Sanitation. No, not Lydia Hassan. Environment, Science and Technology.
Okay.
That's a new name.
Okay. All right. There's also December 7 opportunity to rebuild nation. That's according to the NDC. Supplement on Ghana Hotels Association awards. That's also in there. And then on the back page, tensions flare at protest for football reforms. We'll bring you details of all of that. So let me quickly get here. So 4 senior governance experts and political scientists have described the ministerial reshuffle as uniquely interesting, emphasizing the fact that it is the first real change under President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Now, Dr. John Osai Kwapong, our very own, Mary Ada, Professor Seydou Alidu, and Dr. Kojo Pumpuni Asante, however, wondered, quote, why now? And, quote again, what possible difference will it make? Which is what some of us... After the president appeared to have succumbed to pressure to remove the Minister of Finance of 7 years, Ken Ofori-Atta, and make sweeping changes across the wide space of ministerial portfolios. Now, the resource person spoke to Daily Graphic correspondents Albert Salia Samuel Dodu and Mary Anani Amponsa. So you have your new Interior Minister elect, if you like, Henry Quartey. Yeah. You have Darkwan Newman, Gender, Children, Social Protection. Some people were surprised by that, among others. But I guess, like I said, it's reflective of what Dr. Alidu Seydou, Dr. John Osai Kwapong, Mary Ada, and others have said. Even before I read this, it was the same thing I was thinking. Why now? What difference will it make? Basically.
Especially with just 8 months to go into the elections.
Yeah. Let me get to other stories. My friend seems to be doing quite a lot. Work together to advance causes in society. Swiss ambassador tells women. The ambassador of Switzerland to Ghana, Simone Giga, has called on Ghanaian women to collaborate and work together to advance their causes in society. In an interview with the Daily Graphic, she stated that the level of advancement of women in society could always improve with time. Quoting her, she says, "This will not happen overnight, but if we empower one another and work together, we can always see more improvements in the advancement of women in Ghana and Africa at large." I don't know what your reaction is to this. There's also women advised to take mental health seriously, but I feel if women banded together more rather than cut themselves more, there's always beef between this artiste and that artiste and this and that, but I feel some of us are gender activists on this side. I've always been this since my school days. No, I wouldn't call... Feminism has come to evolve into so many layers. So now I am very careful.
Feminism has become...
Maybe. So which is why now I am very touchy about ever, labeling myself a feminist, but I am a gender activist. I've always felt that, for example, leadership in this country, I was saying it just a few days ago, we are not, it's not fair compared to the Tanzanians and the Ethiopians and the rest. How many women do we have in parliament? Recently, when the MMDCs were asked, look at the numbers, women dwindling even further. I feel we can have affirmative action in that regard. We've done well in education. Tertiary level, we've done well. The numbers, now in most areas, women are more than men. But how about in sports, for example? Why is it that the Black Stars win practically nothing for us, yet the Black Queens and others, they have placed this, placed that, won laurels, and still, look at Hazake's ladies when they went out, and but so obviously the disparities are wide.
I think women are not our own enemies. Unfortunately, I like to think, I'm a little biased because I like to think it's a man's world, and you've created this box for women to fit in. So we're gradually getting out of that space. So it looks as if men have to allow women. That's the word that they often use, that they have to allow women to do this. They have to help women to do that. But women really, at the helm of affairs, we are more productive, I think, than men.
Oh, and our producer, Eko Sam, just said something. He said, something very positive about women.
What did he say?
In leadership, basically.
Okay, what did he say?
What did he say?
What did he say, Benjamin?
He says women make very good leaders.
Okay.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so right before I wrap, but what did you think he would say? He would say that women make for very good leaders. Maybe he can give you the details of that when we go off air. So Ghana, Malawi deepen ties, and I'll just wrap with these two stories, and then we can make tracks. December 7, opportunity to rebuild nation. That's according to the NDC. The Ghanaian electorate have been called upon to consider the December 7 presidential and parliamentary elections as not just a political contest, but an opportunity to rebuild the nation rooted in progress, inclusivity, and justice for posterity. Well, a picture there, you heard him, Fifi Fiavi, Kwete, General Secretary of the party. And 2024 general election addressed concerns of parties. Catholic bishops urged the EC. I'm a proud Catholic, and I'm very proud about how the CBC, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, has been at the forefront of talking about crucial national issues. Don't wait. You know what they say about leadership, right? You say, we are the smart people, but we don't want to lead. It's a bit of me. I don't like the politics, but you can find leadership in other ways. You don't want to lead, like what I'm doing now, right? And you leave it to some people who may not exactly be very savvy or bright, and they will come and take over and mess up your life. So I guess
if you refuse to vote, you'll be ruled by a government of foolish people. That's something I read in school.
Yeah. I think
so
I saw something.
You don't exercise your franchise. The people who probably are not as intelligent as you, as discerning as you, would go and vote for someone because they've been given some 200 CDs. And at the end of the day, the numbers, the system elects the presidents. Don't forget that. So even one vote matters. So you should go out to vote. There's a story, though, Benjamin, in the Ghanaian Times that I want to do. It's on HIV. It says Ghana marks 20 years of HIV antiretroviral treatment. A total of 254,753 human immunodeficiency virus persons are currently on highly active antiretroviral therapy. This was disclosed yesterday in Accra during the launch of the 20 years of HIV antiretroviral treatment in Ghana. I think this is positive news because last month, Ghana Statistical Service released the data for the number of people in Ghana who are living with HIV, or the number of people who contract HIV on a daily basis, and it was alarming. There was even a story of a young woman who was arrested going around just infecting people. She knew she had HIV. And she was just going out distributing the virus.
That is a very sad situation.
If we can mark 20 years of antiretroviral treatment, it means that we are not losing lives to this disease, but we are working towards actually saving life and boosting people's lives who are living with the virus. So I think it's a step in the right direction.
Well. Still with the Daily Graphic, I wanted you to do, but Book of Condolence opens for Dr. Herbert Wigwe. The Access Bank man who, it's so sad. It's so sad, but it also tells you about how ephemeral, how how amazing yet so fleeting life is. Some of the people I remember way back from school, this, I've forgotten his name, but we had basically had a chat with this student at Bishop Herman College way back. And in a matter of days, we were told he was gone. And I've had so many of those in my life. You talk to someone, I mean, even here, we've had a few instances. You speak to someone and a few days, I mean, you see someone and the person is alive, kicking, everything is, then the next thing you hear, the person is no longer among the living.
Yeah, the saddest
it's crazy.
That his wife and children were with him.
I don't know about all the children. I heard a child, and I don't know, but whatever it is.
His family was with him. I don't know if all of them or just a bit of them that were with him.
And it's such a sad reminder to reminiscent of what happened to Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant and his daughter, and this life.
It says, teach us to number our days, Benjamin. I don't know Bible, but I know that teach us to number our days that we may live, intentionally? Something of that sort.
Something of that
Every
sort,
day it's an
numbering our
opportunity
days.
to live like it's your last. Don't take life for granted. Live life as wild and hard and free as you can possibly live, because you don't know when will be your last, Benjamin. You and I could be sitting talking in 10 years or in just today. You don't know.
And two things to learn from this. I think the first would be, he posted something similar to what you just said. I think a few weeks or months before his demise, almost as though
he knew.
somehow. And people have also alluded to the fact there's another fantastic lady. Is it Bolajo or something? I've forgotten her name, Ms. Bolajo. She's also been with the institution, Access Holdings, for a long time, since the early 2000s. I think 2003. She's taken over from him.
Okay.
And it also points to the fact that, your work will likely outlive you. It's not to say, the Bible says, whatever you do, do well, right? But don't kill yourself. And I'm being very respectful. I'm not talking about now Dr. Wigwe specifically, but even as you work and do everything, make time for yourself. Check out your health. Work out. Love the people around you, because,
I used to think
and if you are gone, make no mistake.
Life will go on.
And it's simple. If a Benjamin Akakpo, God forbid, goes today, they will find a replacement.
Oh, yes. Of course. Obviously.
I always say that you'll always find either someone who's better or someone who's not as close to that person, but they will fill the space. It is life.
Which is why I don't joke with rest. I used to think that rest was a bad thing. Sleep is for the weak. You sleep when you die. But as you grow, I realize that, don't kill yourself.
Sleep is actually for the strong.
Yes. Rest boosts your activity. It helps your brain, your physical body, everything. If the more rest you have, the better your productivity. So I do not think that you should work and not take a break because you want to make your millions or you want to impress your bosses or whatever your reason for working so hard. Always remember that you come first. In your order of priorities, there should be your name. So in my list of the things that are, very important to me, there's first Sweetie Abochi there. Everything I'm number one on my list before everything else comes. Because at the end of the day, Benjamin,
I'm sure God comes before you, right?
Yes. Okay. Oh, God is overall, God is overall. After God, there's me. Before everything else. Anyway,
you don't come to play.
No.
This year, we don't go grieve for anybody.
#
we don't go grieve. All right, the new finder says Ghana spent $3 million at AFCON 2023. That's according to Minister Mustafa Yusuf. Reshuffle has come too late. That's according to the minority. The big shake-up and pictures there, and hundreds of soccer enthusiasts demonstrate to demand reforms in Ghana football. I think that was the story I wanted to. So, did you follow the protest march yesterday? The Daily Graphic says by hundreds of Ghanaians demanding reforms in football administration and the revival of the Black Stars ended in near chaos as angry demonstrators booed and charged at the Deputy Minister of Youth and Sports, Evans Opoku-Bobie, and leading officials of the GFA who showed up at the Independence Square to address the demonstrators at the end of the 3-hour march. The angry reaction of the crowd prompted the swift intervention of the police, who whisked away the Deputy Minister. GFA General Secretary Prosper Harrisonado and Odrosafo, a member of the GFA Executive Council, in a pickup to avert any danger. I don't stand for any physical whatever, or the altercations and everything, but the people helming our sports are doing a piss poor job, and a lot of them, if I had my way, would be
whisked away. The way they whisked away the leadership of the Sports Football Association to avert any chaos.
But
at least they came to respond to these demonstrators. I think that it was a respectful thing they did to come out. Ghanaians say they are coming out to demonstrate, and the leadership thought, okay, there should be some representation to at least listen to what they have to say.
Maybe the people also got angered by what they were even... But whisking them away reminded me of a song from way back.
Tell me.
Did you ever listen to Cisco?
I don't know who Cisco is, unfortunately.
You don't know who Cisco is?
No. Am I old or you're young?
I am a millennial. Are you a Gen Z? Wait, a Gen Z, I think the ages would be 11 to 26. This is turning into an expose. I know you're outside of this bracket.
95.
Excuse me? You are outside of this bracket. You're actually old.
No, I'm not.
You wanted to throw punches at me. Look at you right now. A Gen Z would be 11 to 26 years old. You're outside. I know you're outside of this bracket.
No. Generation Z starts from 95.
Okay, so let me break it down for you. Cisco belonged to a group called Drew Hill, if I'm not mistaken, and later he separated himself, just as Justin Timberlake was with NSYNC. So, and then he started singing, and in one of his songs he goes, "Let me whisk you away." I can't continue with the rest. You should check out that song. So we should whisk away the... Now, if I continue, I'll say things I can't say on air. All right. So that's how we cap it off. Anything you'd like to say before we go? We celebrate everyone who's celebrating a birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday to my cousin Geoffrey. I forgot your birthday yesterday. Happy birthday. He sent a reminder text to wish him a happy birthday. I wish you the best of life that life has to offer. Stay blessed.
Okay. Right before we get into sports, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us bring you this segment. They're offering you prostate screening for free if you're a man, fertility screening for free if you're a woman. Just reach out to them at any of their branches here in Accra. Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, Chronomabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. Takrade and Asi Estate. Tema, Community 22. Techiman Hanswa, Isiama, and Zamar. Their call lines 0244 867 068 or 0274 234-321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. You didn't note, though, that my spectacles had changed today.
They have, haven't they?
I'm beefing with you.
Benjamin, you're always wearing spectacles, so I've become so used to it that I no longer, pay attention to it. I'm sorry.
Someone said once that my blue spectacles were a spectacle in themselves.
Bars, and that's how we are whisking you away
into sports Tuesday.
Let's do sports now on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak, and we start with the big story where hundreds of Ghanaians marched in a Save Ghana football demonstration and petitioned the government over the declining state of football. Protesters called for significant reforms in football governance to revive what they describe as a dying industry. Daniel Cranton has the rest of the story.
Worn out, frustrated and plainly disgusted by the state of Ghana football, protesters at the Save Ghana football demonstration earlier today hooted at the Deputy Sports Minister, Ivan Tupoku Bobie, together with officials of the Ghana Football Association as they came forward to receive the petition by the conveners of the demonstration. A 15-point petition was also presented to the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, after a long march which had hundreds of football-loving fans join in. The march began at the Obra Spot at Kwame Nkrumah Circle and ended up at the Black Star Square before protesters proceeded to the Parliament House. One of the conveners, Christopher Nimley, said the large numbers present on the day is testament to the dissatisfaction football fans have with the current state of the game.
My brother, this is massive. We never thought, but Ghanaians have shown that yes, indeed, they love their football. We are not only going to change sports or football, we are changing sports in general. After this, if you find yourself in big positions and you don't listen, then the people of Ghana will come for you. I don't know what again you have to see or hear to get you to transform the way you've been thinking. We want a complete 360 turn around 360, and we are going to save our football and save every other sport in this country.
A lot of the protesters I've spoken to this morning have mentioned the need for Cletus Dapilah to walk away. Is that an idea you believe in?
I believe in that 100%. This man has a huge conflict of interest. Whatever he does, there is conflict of interest associated with that. He has as many as 6-7 football teams. Anytime our national team call-ups are made, it is dominated by his team, by his players. At the end of the day, he uses our platform, raise the profile of his players, sell them and put the money in his pocket. He's not accountable to anybody. He sits there together with his ESCO people and the General Secretary, come up with an Afghan budget that say we should go and spend $8.5 million. My brother, if this is not demonic, if this is not wicked, you have to find the best word to describe it.
The protesters were, among others, seeking significant reforms in the governance of Ghana football. They believe Ghana's football industry is collapsing because of the poor leadership and structures. The Black Stars' exit at the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations at the group stages served as a final piece that necessitated the demonstration. Seasoned journalist and one of the conveners, Sadiq Adams, offered some explanation as to why the route seemingly changed during the demonstration.
The numbers that have come and the anger in people, GFA premises cannot contain a quarter of the numbers here. And they are picking up intelligence that will not allow us to go there. We have to go by the instructions of the police. We cannot go against the police instructions as leaders because they understand what they have picked as intel. Somebody can go set fire to the GFA building and say it was caused by the demonstrators. We don't want that to happen. So you want to present the police wants a number of us to present the petition to Parliament, to GFA. But the crowd cannot go to the GFA because of the intel they have picked. We understand them. The police work with intelligence. We don't. And I think that we have achieved whatever we sought to achieve with the demonstration. Thank you. We will never allow any miscreants or any anger in anybody to destroy it. We are football-loving people. We are peace-loving people. If the police says do this, we have to follow them. We have started and we have finished. We will present the petition to Parliament, the GFA, and the Ministry and NSA. That is the most important thing. Whatever they tell us by deed of intel, we as leaders, they met us, we will follow. People may be angry that we could not go there, but you cannot use anger. You cannot let anger control your emotions. So we understand them. We thank the people for what they have done. I think the statement has been made. Nothing will destroy that.
Now, Frank Anodompre is Majority Chief Whip, and he presented the petition to the House on behalf of the Save Ghana football protesters. He wants the government to take decisive action against the GFA, even if it leads to a ban from FIFA.
Let's all accept it. We must be humble enough to accept that there's something wrong with the running of our senior national team, the Black Stars. There is something definitely wrong with that. Now, and I hear all the statements about reform and reform. I hear my colleague, the Honorable Suhini, being very loud, very clear. It cannot just be any reform at all. Yes, I agree there should be some reform. But we must be specific on what we want to do. Speaker, I dare say that even if we have to interfere to attract the sanction of FIFA, we've heard about that. If we interfere in football administration, FIFA is going to sanction us, and what? If that is what we should come to, if push comes to shove, we must do it to safeguard the sports. It is all we have. You travel outside the country, and once you say that you are Ghanaian, the first thing anybody tells you is that they mention one popular footballer or the other. And the football, which is a brand, is being destroyed. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, it's being destroyed. And it will not happen in this time of ours as leaders that we will sit down aloof and allow things to run down. We must safeguard the situation. And I'm confident in my friend, the sports minister. We should also not think that we can oversimplify the matter and just zero in on budget. The budget is a microscopic aspect of the functions or what we have to do.
For Youth and Sports, Mustafa Yusuf has revealed that the state will organize a national dialogue to find solutions to the problem. He also described the current state of the Black Stars as unacceptable.
The Ministry of Youth and Sports is aware of disappointments among the Ghanaian populace and therefore intend to put measures that will lead to the national dialogue of all stakeholders to come up with modern and inclusive way of managing our national teams. Way forward, Mr. Speaker, the Black Star performance in the last major tournament, that is 2021 AFCON in Cameroon, 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, the 2023 AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire, where Ghana exits at the group stage of all these three major tournaments, notwithstanding government continuous huge investments in the team, is not acceptable. The Ministry of Youth and Sports is aware of disappointments among the Ghanaian populace and therefore intend to put measures that will lead to the national dialogue of all stakeholders to come up with modern and inclusive way of managing our national teams. Our Black Star will shine again. Mr. Speaker, I must say that the past 2 weeks have been a very difficult one and worrisome to me as the Ghana's Minister for Youth and Sports. Technical vacancy. Following the Ghana's early exit from the 2023 African Cup of Nations, Coach Chris Hutton was relieved of his job as a Black Star coach. This has led to vacancy ahead of other assignments by the Black Star in 2024. The Ghana Football Association has since set up a 5-member committee to commence discussion on the appointment of a new coach and the technical team for the Black Star, as we have agent World Cup qualifiers in the Osprey.
Stay with the sports minister because he has confirmed Ghana budgeted more than $8 million for the Africa Cup of Nations with regards to the Black Stars. However, the ministry spent $3 million. In a related story, MP for North Tongue Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa criticized the amount, describing it as a waste of resources.
Mr. Speaker, our estimated budget for the 2023 African Cup of Nations tournament was $8,506,450 United States dollars. And this was to cater for the pre-tournament stages, that is our pre-campaign stages, the tournament phase, that's the group stages, and also the 1/16 stage, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and finals. If we have gone through all the stages up to finals, Mr. Speaker, Ghana, the estimated budget would have been $8,506,450 United States dollars. Out of this amount, an amount of $5,070,840.36 United States dollars was released by the Ministry of Finance, of which $3,070,067.81 was spent on the team pre-campaign that is buying flight tickets for all our team players and technical team from their base to Ghana, and also taking them to Kumasi, and also making sure that their per diems are paid, the flight arrangements for the team, medicals, equipment, and logistics, hospitality. This resulted in a surplus of 2,172,000.55 after our early exit from the tournament. Mr. Speaker, the ministry had negotiated to pay bonuses should the team progress to the next round of the tournament. Therefore, no qualification bonuses were paid due to the team early exit at the group stage.
Mr. Speaker, the point must be made that the $3 million that we have spent for just these 3 matches, their abysmal performance, is in excess of what other countries budgeted for the entire tournament. Nigeria, $1.3 million. Zambia, $2.1 million. Open source information, go on the internet. Zambia presented $2.1 million to their parliament. And here we are, $3 million, no value for money. Mr. Speaker, the documents the ministry submitted to this House, to Parliament, if you look at how much we spent on qualifiers, Ghana versus Angola, home and away, 7.4 million. Ghana versus Madagascar, 13.2 million. Mr. Speaker, airlifting of supporters from Qatar 2022, 5.3 million. We are throwing millions, hundreds of millions into supporting these blasters, and we are not getting results. Look at the state of our pitches. We don't even have a single FIFA standard pitch, not one. Youth development is gone. The local league is gone.
Welcome back. We're back right here in the studios of Joy News, and we're excited to have you. Now, the discussions we're about to have, we'd love to hear from you on. And we're going to be talking about matters germane to our national life, topical matters, including, but not restricted to, 1, the ministerial reshuffle, what it means, and what in your estimation, it will do. Will it have any impact at all? That's one thing we're going to be contemplating. Another matter on the chopping board, Dr. Bawumia and everything he's outlined so far. But is there any hope in what he said? Does his message carry weight? Does it carry water? The minority does not think so. They feel it's still the old that is being repackaged, nothing new. We get into those all-important discussions with Member of Parliament for Anyaso, Dr. Dixon Adumakukisi. We also have Cletus Dapilah, who is Member of Parliament for Drapa. He joins the conversation as well. Gentlemen, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good
morning, Doc. Good to have you.
Happy New Year. We haven't met since the New Year.
No, we've not. And even on the show, it's been... you've not been on this year, have you?
Since this year, yeah.
Yes. As for Doc, we get on from time to time, and he's had his time on AM exclusive. As I always do, I'd like to start from your constituencies, and today will be none too different. Doc, I'll start with you. Your delegates decided not to return you to Parliament, but I am fully aware of some of the wonderful things you've done in your community. But hey, I'm not a constituent and I'm not a delegate. Sir John famously said, "Fear delegates." How is Anyaso Utom like? And especially, I'd like to know, you're left with a few months in this 8th Parliament, and then you have to hang your boots, and you say you are supporting the next candidate. Is it Mr. Tobin? Emmanuel Tobin, to get into Parliament. But what are you going to be doing between now and the end of your tenure? So just give me briefly the state of your constituency and what your plan is.
So the very first thing, let me take this opportunity to re-wish my mother a happy Vows Day, and very importantly, praying that she blossoms and blossoms and blossoms, even in her old age.
Amen.
She's doing fantastic, so Mama Kisi. And then my wife and kids to a happy Valentine's Day. I think with regards to my constituency, key on the list of things is to still push for development. And that will not stop, whether in Parliament or outside Parliament. I think that's something I've been doing for a long time because I'm a resident of the constituency. So that won't stop. And then more importantly, strengthen my relations with both opinion leaders and people who matter within the constituency. I have to continue and also focus a bit more on private enterprise, be it health or other projects that I'm looking to do within the constituency. But one thing is key. I won't stop communicating, and that is why I'm here today, to still carry on with reaching out to Ghanaians and helping them understand government's policies, and then reaching out to Ghanaians to help them also make known to government what their issues are. So those are the two things that I think I'll still continue to do. And who knows, maybe Joy News might employ me someday. and I think that most of us who are not returning will still have to support the party and ultimately help us.
It's not even an option, is it?
It shouldn't be.
It's not an option. It's something that you must do. But I do know that in some instances there is bad blood because of the nature of how some people were ousted. And you do agree that, I mean, the last time I had an interaction with you, you made mention of the fact that, yes, you felt as though there were powers somewhere, undercurrents that wanted you out. Yeah. And I mean, you, one person, you wanted Ken Oforiatta out. I'll get to that. You wanted Ken Oforiatta out. Then. So now you didn't want him out. And then what was the other bit?
I supported Alan earlier.
You supported Alan Tremartin.
Yeah.
And Alan has now gone to another place. He's with the Afafronto movement. And was there another bit?
I think that's about it.
And supposedly there was some sponsoring of candidates against you, money from everywhere. We've even heard of some member of parliament who used to be in the area you are, who did some,
Well, I can say that, to some extent, former member of parliament was not 100% in support of my candidature.
Are you referring to Mavis Hawakumsin or which one?
No. I have a foreign affairs minister.
Shali Ayoko Botre?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. She wasn't in support?
Not 100% in support.
Not 100% in support. So the factors were many. And I guess in the end...
That's life. So I mean...
Is it also that... I've heard a few things. I say honorable in Tia.
Well, let me maybe help people understand this. I had a delegate pool of 1,500. Some other places had 400 or less than 500. So, I mean, looking at the fact that when you are in government, we all receive the same quote-unquote salary. If I'm sharing my salary amongst 1,500 people as compared to somebody sharing across 400 people. If you compare my constituency to theirs, you'd say that I'm not doing well. But literally, If you look at the quantum, then you'd realize that sometimes we even go overboard in terms of the quantum that we share. And quote unquote, if I was even attending to just 1,200 of my constituency, quote unquote, delegates out of the 1,500, that is still a heavy number. So sometimes...
But we've had people tell us, and I'm not talking to you about hearsay, I'm talking to you about what some of your colleagues told us, and the millions they spent, even on election day. And of course, I can't mention, for the sake of confidentiality, I can't mention those names. But why you don't get the millions of?
No.
You don't get the millions to share because the delegates right now they say no money, no vote.
It's unfortunate, and it's actually trickling down to, and I think that this main election might also suffer the consequences of this, because getting out people to vote might lead to people asking also for an arm and a leg. I mean, because of what happened during our election. But I'm hoping that, that won't influence people in terms of turnout in the December election. But very important, and this maybe the NCC might help us in the future. I really think that this trajectory of using a lot of money for power or for positions won't be in the best interest of the country. What I mean is that well-meaning Ghanaians with competence, without lots of quote-unquote monies, will not be at the helm of affairs in terms of politics. And I've always been pushing that we need more professionals in politics, and professionals might not necessarily have that kind of wealth to get into politics to help with the accounting bit, the carpentry experience bit in terms of construction of buildings. I mean, all the other various professions in this country. And I think that might worry us in the sense that if everything becomes the highest bid, then our politicking in this country will suffer. And there should be room for those who have nothing to do politics. And what I mean nothing is at least something, but those who have if it becomes just then eventually, excuse me to say, that the barons of the drug world will just then come and take over our country. Because some of them, that I know of in other jurisdictions, like the Mexicos, have heavy money. So I worry that Ghana stands to lose on very talented people, very skilled people, if we fail to allow in our body politics people who might not necessarily have heavy money to do politics for us. And politics, I know it's sika kakra, nimdia kakra, and the love for the people, but if we make it lopsided to just money, then we'll have, the content in Parliament will be so bad.
Right.
And what I mean content is that the kind of arguments that will be made in Parliament for the people, the ordinary people, will suffer. Because if you don't have ordinary men in Parliament, then who would be looking out for the ordinary people in the country by virtue of, the way it has been set up. But thanks for this question. I'm trying to shy away from the elections as much as possible, but you guys just keep going there. So greetings to Anyanso Tom. Happy vows to all those who's been a big fan of Dr. Adbanku Kisi.
Right.
And you asked also one key thing, that what I be doing. I'm also looking, let me use this opportunity to create a platform for networking within my constituency. So it will be like an artisan professionals networking where we'll be meeting maybe every first Friday of the month by way of being able to connect with people and still maintain influence and help people get jobs through that. So that's another thing that I'm looking to do.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. I'll come back to you on something interesting, but let me come to you, Cletus, as well. even as I talk about your constituency, I know in recent times, heartbreaking incident. You've heard of the issue, Eric, the owner of Royal Cozy Hills Hotel, popularly known as Drapa Dubai.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was shocked to the marrow when I heard of that incident. And people have said, look, you have a man coming through with such a mindset to make this community, this area, which doesn't necessarily have too many of these, buoyant, economically strong, and all of a sudden this happens. What signal does that send? Let me start with you. You are a member of parliament for that constituency. Before you even tell me about other developments in your constituency.
Well, good morning to your good self. Good morning to my brother and a good friend. And
you're good friends, sir.
Your distinguished viewers.
I want clarity on that. You're good friends.
Oh, we are good friends.
Okay. No, it's always good to know.
We are also on the Foreign
It's always
Affairs
good to know
Committee.
when
The Foreign Affairs Committee is my vice chairman. Let me come back to the issue. I'm not a happy man, and just like many people who have heard of the demise or gruesome murder of Mr. Eric Johnson in the early hours of, do I say Saturday or Sunday? Well, the news was brought to us on Sunday dawn, and I don't even know how to start it, but we are, I don't know. It's something that we still cannot believe that it happened, but it has happened.
You're still reeling from the shock.
Yeah, Eric is being murdered, and that is unfortunate incident. It's a whole, let me say, a shame. It's a shame to the entire Upper West, Jirapa, and Ghana as a whole.
Right.
This is a multinational businessman. Eric has been in business since 1988. The Royal Cozy Hills is a subsidiary of his mother company by name Intermec Ghana Limited.
Okay.
Intermec is his mother company that is into water. It's an expert in water.
Okay.
He has a very good record in Ghana water. Most of the Ghana water, there are pipelines and heavy machines. It's being done by Intermec. Intermec they have their mother company in Germany where he's the agent in Africa and all of them. So he's been doing a lot in the quiet for quite some time now. Bro, it's unfortunate that such an illustrious son life will have to be wasted in this manner. But we live in a society where people are wicked, some are wicked, some are good, so you just cannot tell.
Yeah.
That is the kind of society in which we find ourselves. But let's all think and ponder over it, whether this is the tangent to go, even if somebody erred or wronged you. Because preliminary investigation shows that it was like a contract killing. They just entered to murder him, nothing more, nothing less. That is what they did to Eric. And when you look at the pictures, you realize that my friend, my brother, really suffered before he died. I think every blood in Eric poured out before he died because he was stabbed multiple times. Every part of his body was stabbed to the extent that his intestines even came out. So that is the level.
His entrails came out. Did you get to see, or were you told?
Well, I have some pictures and videos I cannot share.
Obviously not.
Yeah, because
obviously not.
But that is how it happened. The whole room, his bedroom, was soaked with blood. I said every blood in the man poured out. So I will use this, your medium, to also appeal to the media that there have been misreportage about where he died. Okay. Eric didn't die in the hotel. Eric died because the reports has been that he died in his hotel room. That is not the case. Eric does not live in the hotel.
Yeah,
he lives in his residence.
Rafiq Salam told us.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
it was
it's just
residence.
to put it out there that those media journalist people, they should get their facts right before because what they are doing, they just want to create fear and panic for people not to go to the hotel, and that will not be good.
I don't want to think intentionally, anyone. It may be about the information they may have got, but from our end, I know right from the start, Rafiq Salam, Upper West Regional.
Well, Rafiq knows very well.
Rafiq
in 2017,
told us right from the start.
Rafiq in 2017, including some other journalists, were people that I took them to Jirapa. That was when we commissioned Jirapa Dubai in 2017. Rafiq knows that the stories are all out there. You know, so I just want to put it out there that Mr. Johnson did not die in the hotel room. He doesn't live in the hotel. He has his own residence close to the hotel where he lives. Yeah. So the residence where he lives is different from the hotel. I just want to put out this reportage, whether it's intentionally or not, but it's a fact. So let me use this opportunity to express my sincere condolences to his 3 daughters, all the staff of Intermec and Royal Cozy Hills. We are grieving. We've lost our director, we lost our MD, we lost our son, we lost our husband, our brother, everything. Let me also appeal to the youth and the good people of Jirapa that they should remain resolute and calm. Understand they will be protesting tomorrow, Friday, to drum home government support in investigating this matter. I support them in that direction, but they should do it and with respect to the law, because the law enforcement agencies are on top of the job. They are doing serious investigation. National Security, the IGP, God bless him, he dispatched serious forensic.
The IGP was there himself at the point, from what we hear.
He dispatched a group of experts, the military intelligence unit. Everybody is there, gathering information and helping in the investigations. So we hope by the end of the day or at the end of the investigations, the culprits, those that killed or murdered our brother, our son, Mr. Eric Johnson, will be brought to book. For me, I just pray and hope that the culprits should be apprehended so that we know the reason why they murdered such an illustrious son. We just have to know the reason, that's all. If we know the reason, it will clear doubts it will clear speculations, you know, whether it's internal, it's external, it's business, it's whatever. So many speculations are ongoing.
And so many people have also been, invited, some apprehended by the police for investigations, including staff of the Royal Cozy Hills.
Royal Cozy Hills. Right. Because the investigators noticed that maybe the place was not broken into. No window was broken, no door was broken.
I mean, we've been told of how this was
people had access. So they are looking at those who are close to him, those who have access to the place and all of that. So by and large, that's what happened to Mr. Eric.
What is the state, in a minute, what is the state of Jirapa now? Yes, so the life of your constituents.
Jirapa looks like a cemetery. You see, I don't even want to talk about Jirapa because all I can say is what I have just said about Jirapa. Right. There are issues of development, politics, and all of it. We'll discuss it later. Because if you go to Jirapa now, it looks like a cemetery. Everybody is moody. Everybody is sad. Everybody is crying. Everybody is mourning. Nobody is happy in Jirapa. So that is the situation of Jirapa as of now. And not just Jirapa, people across the world are calling and finding out whether it's actually true. Ghanaians so far in Parliament, my colleagues, the calls I have received from people asking what really happened. I wasn't there, nobody was there, but this is the news that they broke to all of us. So I will just say that Jirapa is mourning, Upper West is mourning, the entire Northern Ghana is mourning, particularly when you get to Royal Cozy Hills. In fact, what Eric didn't live to see, that I am in pain, is the fact that the idea wasn't about a resort or a hotel. He came to establish a factory to create jobs for the youth. So he came to establish a water factory, a huge water factory, bottling water. He went to search for market in Niger, Dubai, and to be supplying certain parts of this country. They did the test run or test production just last week. They were to start production this week. So he wanted to witness that production before he travels back to the UK for review. He's also been not well. So he was going back to the UK for review. Eric did not see all of this. But that is how it is. That is what destiny or probably God says. This is how Eric will end. Otherwise, it shouldn't have been. So that is the reason. So when he got to Jirapa, then he noticed that in the entire of Upper West, there is no such decent hotel that can attract tourists, that can... So he wanted to open up...
down south.
Yeah, he wanted to open up the entire Upper West to the rest of the world. So he decided to invest in the hotel business. So that is how the issue,
it is so unfortunate,
came about. So the idea wasn't about the hotel, but he just at a point decided that let me do something that can connect the Upper West to the entire world, that can let people, you know, our area, people say Upper West is far, the place is far. So he needed to do something that will attract people, tourists, and many people to come. And it was actually picking up. My worry is that he has, even on Thursday he spoke to me, Friday he spoke to me.
That was the Thursday and Friday before Sunday when he was murdered.
Before Saturday midnight he was murdered.
Right.
You know, and all his complaint has been that the facility as of now cannot generate to pay the staff. So it's his other businesses that support to sustain the place for now. But he has a dream, he has a goal. He says that, look, I will have to be doing all of this so that the place at a point in time will be better, where it can be self-sufficient. So that is what he's been doing. So since he started Operation Royal Cozy Hills, he's not made a profit. He has never made any profit. It's about other businesses, other monies he brings to come and even pay the workers. Because when you go there, he has over close to 300 workers that works there. Close to 300 workers. You know,
and while we have to, I mean, it's so heartbreaking, right? Because now you ask yourself, usually in our part of the world, sometimes, because of systems that may not necessarily be there, you ask yourself, what happens to, I hear he has children, yes,
yeah,
but
what
happens
to 3 daughters.
The outfits now? What happens to Jirapa Dubai? What, you know, the dream versus, and now he's gone too soon. But may he find peace with the Lord. The way you even describe his murder, gruesome. You wouldn't want to wish that on your worst enemy. You know, there are some things, no matter, a human being is a human being. And whoever did this, I don't know how they can sleep at night. You know, I don't know.
We live with a wicked world, so.
But let's
some people laugh.
Let's make tracks.
They think differently about you.
Yeah.
You know.
So you have to be careful, because some people laugh in your face, like you're saying, but they don't mean you well. They'll stab you in the back.
Let me tell you, all of that. You see, no matter. You see, security. If you want to talk about security, Eric is somebody that doesn't joke with his security. Eric is very.
So we were told. So how?
Even when you go and see the residence, his villa where he lives, he built the place, taking serious security measures in place.
We're even told, Rafik tells me that even the vehicle, when you drive to where he stays, his residence, right, which is also within the area, you can't enter with your own vehicle, so you have to get into his vehicle to enter. And you know that we've also been told that the person actually got away in his own vehicle.
Yeah,
got through the gates.
That is how they made they exited, because they couldn't have come out. So
because you only go in and out with his car.
They used a man's vehicle to mean that it was a man that was going out. So the security opened the gate straight away. Was anytime he's parked his car, then they opened the gate. And the residence and the gate is quite a distance. But once he parked the car, they opened the gate. So that is how they exited. So they used his car to exit the place, went and parked the car somewhere, and then bolted. So that is the story.
May he find peace, and may the police nab this person or the perpetrators of this act, and maybe those who planned it. That is, if there are others. In there. If you've heard us elaborate on this, spend so much time on it, it's because it's so gruesome, it's so heartbreaking. Imagine, an Elon Musk or a Mark Zuckerberg or a Warren Buffett going, people would, in the business community, the ripple effects. That's what you're seeing with.
That's what you're seeing. Likes of
Eric
Dangote and all of that.
It's really sad. Here. Okay, so moving on from there, let's talk about some other pertinent matters. Let's start with the reshuffle. I'll come to you definitely first. Ken is gone. But some say with his new position, advisory position and all of that, Ken has not been downgraded. He's not been demoted. In fact, he has been upgraded. He has been promoted. And then you can talk about the Greater Accra Regional Minister, who is now headed for the Interior Ministry, Dakwa Newman, who is now Gender, Children and Social Protection candidate for that ministry. You can talk about Lydia Sairam Al-Hassan, Member of Parliament for Ayawaso, West Wuogon, going into sanitation and water resources. Charlie, right now, that thing you make like you lose your parliamentary way. Hey, you're stepping aside. I'm sure if you had a ministerial or deputy ministerial role, maybe they would have touched you, but at least you are safe for now. Lydia taking over from Frida Prempe, Dr. Bernard Okoboy for health taking over from Kweku Ajimamenu. We heard that some of the people, honestly, too, were tired. They had served for close to 8 years, health issues and all of that. Some of them felt it was time to move on. But what would be your immediate reaction to the reshuffle before we maybe pick apart a few specific incidents, including Ken? But you started. You wanted Ken to go. Ken go.
Well,
are you happy now?
Like I said, I wanted it then, but I.
You didn't want it now?
Well,
what changed?
So let me start off. I think better late than never. With reshuffle, better late than never.
Granted, 8 or 9 months to the election.
Granted, the impact may not be as monumental if it had come much earlier, but better late than never. I am happy about the fact that there's a new sort of zeal going to these ministries. There's also the outlook for people that this is a breath of fresh air of some sort to the ministries where they'll be serving, and I think that some change is important in government, and I think that
you realize this 1.5 years after you actually started calling for Ken's removal, right? 1.5 years.
You seem to want to dwell on finance minister.
And no, I'm only saying that you say better late than never. Senior, it is 8 months or so to the elections. Let me just re-echo for you, and I know you have your own thoughts. Dr. John Osei-Kwapong, Mary Ada, Professor Seidu Alidu of the Political Science Department, University of Ghana. He taught me briefly at a point. Dr. Kojo Pumpuni Asante, CDD. All of them say, and they resonate exactly how I'm thinking, 2 points, that why now? At this point, anything that would have been done has been done. They've signed the contracts. They've planned the budget, everything that could be done in any of these ministries. You are under an IMF program. There are strict regulations. What else? I mean, new face, same old, and then what possible difference will it make at this time? Maybe those are things you could consider as you respond.
Well, I will take it that in principle, everything is under sort of a lock and key at the moment. We're on autopilot till December, but I also believe that people make a difference, regardless, and I'm of the view that administratively some directives will change because of the people at the helm of affairs, and I can cite even the likes of our new finance minister. I think that his temperament will be different from the former finance minister. I think that his view on certain things might change the direction. I mean, listen, I remember Alan Greenspan when he coughs interest rate changes.
Yeah.
And for
it's
that
interesting you bring up his name.
Yes. For that reason, the likes of Dr. Amin, his temperament can sway investors to either bring in more or not. And I must add that I've always been of the opinion that in bankruptcy, your exchequer needs to be moved. And there are many investors who may hold that to be true. And in of itself may trigger more people to now come help Ghana. I mean, maintaining our former finance minister also cost the country a bit, from an investment standpoint. And that is a fact, because some people in the investment community were of the opinion that he had to go. So moving forward, I think that in as much as it's 8 months, in the investor world or banking world, some people might have a feel of now coming home to do more for Ghana. And that alone can trigger some growth in this country and also maybe influence inflows from various portions of the world in terms of remittance to this country. And I can also make a case that Dr. Amin will be a man of his own.
And Ken wasn't a man of his own?
No. What I mean is that he's also going to define finance ministry in a certain path. I mean, when department heads change, everybody comes with something new, something different, and that would impact Ghana's finance. It doesn't take a long period to make some monumental shifts, especially when it comes to finance. For instance, I can be very clear with one thing. Somebody may have preferred KPMG for auditing services. Somebody might want Bain and Company. So even the consulting firms that Dr. Amin might use might be different, and these matter. These matter. So I believe that the change, though might be late in the game, still can make some differences.
Ken Ofori-Atta has been given new roles, which some feel is an upgrade, a promotion, in fact, supervisory roles and all of that, which for some is a slap in the face. Looking at where he took us, we are in the worst economic crisis in a generation. The worst economic crisis in a whole generation. And these are not my words. These are words that the Reuters and the others are talking about. These are things that the economists have said. Inflation hit over 50%, record highs and all of that. And people felt that even if he was to go, it was about the signaling, even if cosmetic. But now with the supervisory and other roles that he's purported to be playing directly, it makes him even more powerful. And people are wondering what is the rationale behind it?
I'm of a different view. I really think that per the constitution that we have, the rights and privileges of the finance minister is what matters to Ghanaians. And that...
But that could be exactly the point. Ghanaians focus on the finance minister, but this other role, people will not focus so much on Ken Ofori-Atta, but actually that makes him more powerful.
I think that the constitution we have does not necessarily empower that role over the finance minister. And I really think that distinction has to be made. Clearly, going by the constitution, the finance minister, the new finance minister, is very empowered. He has his mandate when he's confirmed, and let me be very clear to Ghanaians that he'll be able to function in that capacity fully, as expected as a finance minister. And kudos to Ken for his new role. But I really think that as Ghanaians, let's not make much of his new role. Our focus should remain.
Why shouldn't we?
No, I really think that it has some impact on us as a nation, but not in the capacity of a finance.
All right, hold for me. I'll come to the others. I want Cletus to share with me, saying on Ken Ofori-Atta, 7 years and about 2 months at post, and now finally, I mean, your end of parliament, you wanted him out a long time ago. Now he's going. I just want us to focus a bit on the finance ministry. He's gone, but some say to a better place. What do you make of it?
Well, I let me say that the president lost an opportunity to carry the Ghanaians along. Many Ghanaians, there have been calls for President Nana Addo to do reshuffle or to reshuffle his government. And he has come out in many occasions to say that he will not do it. No one can put pressure on him to reshuffle his government. He believed that the team that he was working with was the rightful team, or it was the team that could help propel Ghana's economy. But Ghanaians have been struggling and suffering, and governance has not been good the way people expected. And people believe that the president should have done reshuffle long ago. So if you look at what he did few days ago by way of reshuffle, even many people are not too happy about the reshuffle, except probably those who are benefiting by way of...
Those who have got roles.
Yes,
right.
Who have got roles to play. Otherwise, like you said, 2024 budget has been presented. So none of them can go back and change anything within the ministry. So you are just going to be a ceremonial minister, a ceremonial whatever, because everything that was supposed to be done has been done by the former ministers. So you are just going to be ceremonial ministers. And for
ceremonial ministers.
Yeah, ceremonial, because you cannot do much. You cannot do much, you understand. Some of them who are going to be vetted, they will be vetted, and some will be, maybe they will be starting work somewhere ending of March, maybe April. You go to probably do some orientation to get familiar.
So probably they even have maybe about 4 or 5 months
are going to,
of any work.
They are now going to go through some orientation, how to get familiar with the ministry, ministerial job.
It takes 6 months to
integrate,
to be able to settle, to take off.
But I think that's actually long. Our system, it's
so for
2 months,
for me,
and even less, you should be able to do that. That's already a gap in
for
our system.
For me and many others, our thinking is that the economy has already been destroyed. These people cannot salvage it. What President Nana Addo, even many are, if you check, I heard Freddie Blay, the former chairman, he said it's too late.
Yeah,
it's too late.
That actually took me aback.
Yeah,
Freddie wasn't the who blamed. It's too late.
He was being frank.
Confirmed.
It's confirmed.
Well,
he said it.
So
he said it.
EIB network.
Yes, he said it.
I saw that on.
He said it. He said it.
I was a bit surprised.
He said it. He said that it's too late.
You heard it.
Yeah, it's too late. It's too late for a reshuffle. That's what he said. Right. You understand? Wow. The likes of Imani Ghana's president Franklin Kujo, all of them have their reservation. Think tanks and well-meaning Ghanaians have their reservation about this reshuffle. But what the president missed was the opportunity to reduce the size of government.
And I was just about to get to that.
The president missed the opportunity, and especially the flag bearer of the MPP, who is part of this team. And he is now promising us 50 ministers when he is elected. But you see, he's been part of the system.
When he said 50 ministers, the smile on Dr. Adoma Kukisi's face painted a certain picture. I saw a smile on your face. Why were you smiling?
50 ministers. That's what Dr. Bawumia is promising us. Meanwhile, Dr. Bawumia and his boss, they did the reshuffle few days ago, and Dr. Bawumia could have started, he and his boss, they could have aligned.
Bring, that in.
Oh, so you mean that the vice president has no hands in anything in this government? That is the problem.
In fact, some have even said that this reshuffle is Dr. Bawumia's reshuffle. In other words, it's the overhang of Ken Oforiatta and everything going into the elections. Yeah. Let's have a switch. Let's have that. Is that your thinking as well?
Yes, that's Dr. Bawumia's reshuffle. That is not my thinking. The way you heard it, that's the thinking of many Ghanaians. That's the thinking of many Ghanaians. That this reshuffle is about Dr. Bawumia. It's about bringing certain people that will come and support Dr. Bawumia to win as president or in the 2024 elections. But that will not happen, though. It will not happen because this is just a team of people, the old team that have been recycled. And I believe that Many of them even, though they will be called ministers, but they should not be clapping. I know some of them that are not happy. Some of them that are not happy because if you look at the Minister for Interior, this a man...
You mean the substantive one?
No,
Ambrose
the one
Derry?
that has been ousted. You know, a Minister of Interior,
so you're speaking of Ambrose Derry?
Yes, you remove him. I mean, if I were my uncle Ambrose, with the greatest of respect, I would decline such appointment. Because this totally demotion, you know, they've reduced him to nothing. This is a man who made MPP popular in the Nandom constituency.
Why do you feel he's been reduced to nothing?
Yeah, he's reduced to nothing. Why? You remove me from a bigger job to a lower one.
It's not lower.
It's lower.
Why is it? Why is it lower?
It's lower. No, Minister of State, the cabinet minister, cabinet minister, you reduce him to nothing, no portfolio.
No, it's not a no portfolio thing. He has a portfolio.
It doesn't have.
He has a portfolio. I can agree with you on his demotion because Interior Minister, Cabinet Minister.
Look, there is no portfolio. Minister of State, you have no portfolio. You have no defined job. Minister of State at the presidency,
no, but I think at his age, he might want to be adversarial.
And I didn't mention, I did mention that some of them wanted to slow down.
Then let me tell you, if by what my brother is saying, listen, if by what my brother is saying, then he should have as well just resign.
No, he has a lot of knowledge.
It's about age and all of that if it's about age, then he should have as well just resign.
He has a lot of knowledge.
But let me come to the point that I am making.
Okay, so land on that point.
The president had the opportunity to realign or measure some of the ministers because that is the call from many Ghanaians. Ghanaians are saying that your government has been too large since you came into office. Your first term, you appointed over 123 ministers. As currently, you are dealing with 89 to 90 ministers. Ghanaians are saying that, look, under the current regime, economic crisis that we are, you are imposing new taxes. You want Ghanaians to pay so much, yet you always have the opportunity to reduce the size of your government, yet you will not do it. And you think that the poor Ghanaians should continuously funding these ministers. That is not the way to go. This is not what a listening president or a listening party should be doing. Ghanaians had confidence in President Nana-Addo. He campaigned at the backdrop of taxes, corruption, everything. So Ghanaians had hope in him, he and Dr. Bawumia. Dr. Bawumia was all over the place, touted himself as the economic messiah. He held lectures, talked about what he can do to make Ghana's economy better. All of that. I work in the Bank of Ghana when I became vice president. And eventually, Ghanaians gave them the opportunity. He headed the economic management team. Today, Dr. Bawumia is running away from every responsibility in this government. Every responsibility. And that is not what a leader should do. A leader, first and foremost, must accept responsibility. That is why Ghanaians, when we had Dumso, Ghanaians said it was President Mahama. Meanwhile, everybody knew Dumso was an inherited calamity or inherited, something that President Mahama inherited. Yet President Mahama said, yes, it became worse under my regime. He took responsibility, brought in badges, power badges.
And he was voted out for that.
Yes.
And so is that why? Just to make
currently, let me land. President Nana-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, they do not want to accept anything untoward that has happened under their regime. The president will run away from it. Dr. Bawumia is saying he's not part. So who has committed all the atrocities? Who has plunged this country into this state?
Okay.
Who has done it?
So
they are the people.
Dynamics.
They don't want to accept responsibility.
As for
that is not how a leader should be.
The reshuffle has happened. Is there any other name? I mean, I have shared my sentiments already on Dr. Bernard Okoboy. I personally like him, and I think he'll do a fantastic job at the health ministry. Him over, and I may be passionate, him over Kweku Agyeman-Manu. Any day for me, personally.
I think that is a huge plus to the medical fraternity.
Right.
And I believe that he has experience as a former deputy minister for health.
Exactly.
Industry. So
he's been with the NHIA.
And he's been with the insurance and he is a health man.
Yeah.
And I think that it will mean well for Ghanaians. And that is one clear case where policies and direction of the ministry will be impacted within the next foreseeable few months, and it'll be almost day and night in terms of how Ministry of Health will be run. And I think that these are where you can see that some impact will be made. And I can assure you, I think that Dr. Koboy will be fantastic. Ghanaians love him. And I believe that his further engagement with Ghanaians will bring more people closer to Ministry of Health.
There's Fatima to Abubakar information elevated from deputy. I'm happy about that. More women in. I'm always happy about that.
Absolutely. And then let me also add that
Seyram as well. Lydia Seyram,
fantastic. I mean, she's
just quickly. I want us to.
Granted, we'll miss her. As a deputy chief whip, she's been fantastic, and it encourages me to also go work with her in her constituency.
You said you would support some, and you said she was like is it a mother or sister?
She's mother, sister, everything.
All right.
And yesterday she gave out chocolates, fantastic. I really enjoyed them. So thanks to her, and I really think that, let me use this opportunity to talk to her
briefly.
That they stand to benefit more from her if they maintain her in the 2020.
But you can bet your socks on the fact that John Dumelo is going to give her a hell of a time, especially considering what happened the last time. And even this may take her eye off. Some say take her eye off the business in her constituency a bit.
No, this rather should encourage the constituency to know that she's going to bring more home.
Okay, all right. So
that should be looked at carefully.
Cletus, let's get into the bit. Your end in Parliament, you feel Dr. Bawumia has nothing to offer?
Nothing.
Why?
Absolutely nothing.
Why? I want us to quickly look at
this. Nothing because, look, the man is the chairman of the economic management team.
He's a member of the team.
He's a chairman.
The chairman bit is convention.
He's a chairman. It's not conventional. He is a chairman. And he himself, you heard him mention the names of the economic management team of the NPP. And said that where is the NDC, or who were the NDC economic management team members?
As for that one, you can say he shot himself in the foot.
Yes, he did. He did. You see, let me tell you something. All that today, I don't know why we are changing the narration. You see, all the things that Dr. Bawumia criticized when he was in opposition, today he's in government, he is doing the opposite. And when people talk, then he's trying to change the goalposts. But we are not gullible. We are educated. Ghanaians, we reason, we think. We don't forget. Though people say that Ghanaians easily forget, that is not the case. It is because...
But who said that? Who said Ghanaians easily forget?
Don't do that type of politics. What I'm just trying to say is that, look, Dr. Bawumia has nothing to offer Ghanaians. He's been part of the system. He even misled Nanado. He took us and gave us inflation of 54%, unprecedented in the history of the Fourth Republic. He did that, 54% inflation under the economic messiah. Dollar went to even 18 Ghana cedis, 15 Ghana cedis under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Fuel prices was skyrocketing under Vice President, now flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So what has he done? GDP is ranging between 100%, 103% under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. President Nanado said that, I am picking Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia because of his economic prowess. He's the one that I will be entrusted with the economy. He's the one that will make sure that jobs will be created. We will record good economic indicators so that Ghana will be better for all of us. That is what President Nanado said in his 2018 State of the Nation address. So he gave him all the responsibility. And Dr. Bawumia himself said that he's been given the opportunity to work as vice president. He has said that. So today, all the minuses in this government, Dr. Bawumia is running away from the minuses. And the positives, he wants to take.
So that's
take the positives.
That's a point to be made.
You know, he said he's a driver's mate.
Right.
He said he's a driver's mate.
He says he wants to be driver.
He wants to be a driver.
For me, Cletus.
So if I can come in.
No, so I want you to come in from this point. Yes, a driver's mate. And interesting analogy, though. But honestly, does Dr. Bawumia have anything new, really, to offer the Ghanaian population?
I want to be very succinct in this.
Please be.
What is very clear to me now is that I believe what Dr. Bawumia said, in the sense that not all his recommendations have been agreed upon by the current cabinet. And I think that even today, what is obvious is that if his recommendation of reducing government size had been listened to, I'm very sure that the executive would have maybe reduced the government size during this reshuffle. So this is even a strong case to show that not all of Bawumia's recommendations have been adhered to. And I believe that when he's at the helm of affairs and when he has the full authority and full mandate by Ghanaians, his thinking, what he desires.
I asked you a question, Doc. After all that we've seen of Dr. Bawumia for 80 years,
yes.
What else is new that Dr. Bawumia is bringing?
The thing is that the economic principles that he holds dear still are dear to him. And what has become very clear in the last foreseeable days is that his recommendations, the things that he believes would impact Ghana and reduce our indebtedness, reduce our inflation rate, reduce our interest rates, have not all been adhered to. And I believe that when given a chance, and I believe that...
So that's the change
he's much...
We don't have time to go back and forth.
He's much capable
nodding vehemently
to handle this country than the alternative.
Let me ask my brother a question.
I believe that...
Dr. Bawumia has not come out to tell Ghanaians that I table A, B, C, D suggestions and they did not take.
No, what is
clear? He hasn't said that.
What is clear today?
All that you are saying is that, no, you are conjuring. Doc, you are conjuring. You are conjuring because the man is part of, he's the number 2 gentleman of the land.
The man, he will scrap. He said that he will bring 50 people to run this country.
Dr. Bawumia we heard Kojo Opo Nkrumah saying that Dr. Bawumia drafted the e-levy bill.
He supported.
Do you understand? He supported it. So why did he support it?
Not all his recommendations.
Why did he support it? He hasn't come out to say that.
But he says he'll take it off now.
Even with that, President Mahama and the NDC,
let me moderate this, please.
You know how we fought it. President Mahama is saying that he will take it off way back. President Mahama has delivered his speech.
I am moderating this.
I know.
I get it. Former President Mahama has said he will also take it.
Yeah, long ago.
Now Bawumia says, "Miana mekaye enso meboa or miana mekaye enso my pian sign." It's okay.
But
he says he's taking off the betting tax.
His recommendations
he's taking off
have not been adhered to.
The VAT 15% on emissions if it is excellent. One thing though that is interesting is that, and I don't want any deliberation on this. We'll just move to the final point and wrap. Okwejatua Blakwa Samuel, your colleague, member of parliament for North Town, came here and he said, and I don't know what picture that will paint for Dr. Bawumia, because he says, since Dr. Bawumia says he wants to take away these taxes, you're going to move forward with a private member's bill in parliament to push
stop it.
Push the vice president to take away the tax. He says he will take them away, right? So they are going to push in parliament to test. You want to take them away. And then we'll see whether the vice president means what he's saying or not. And they say they are going to do this as early as next week, if I'm correct. That's what Samuel Okwejatua Blakwa said. I want to see that in parliament and see how the vice president reacts. But the final point I want us to look at...
Sam should know that he doesn't... Let me be very categorical here. The vice president is not empowered by the Constitution to have those powers to... At this point.
Well, if the political will is there, he painted certain dynamics. So they'll proffer it and see what he will do as far as that
will the majority concerned. Also agree? Well, that's another question.
All right. If the vice president, who is the number 2 gentleman of this country, if his words cannot be taken, if his advice cannot be taken, then who are ministers? How will anybody take the consideration of any minister? No minister's wish or thinking will be considered. You understand? I'm saying that ministers even take responsibility. Ministers implement government policies and take responsibility. So Dr. Bawumia, as chairman of economic management team, cannot be running away from his own words, his own responsibility. He's done that. That is what so far. That is what he's done to himself. That's how he injured himself in his lecture. The lecture he is giving.
No, you understand that your recommendations are not adhered to. It's different.
And okay, so I just we have to go.
Surprisingly,
no dwelling. As for Dr. Bawumia,
surprisingly, he has never even come out to tell us that my suggestions have never been taken. No, he wants to once again in 20.
I mean, let's face it. That situation,
Ghanaians.
That position is very untenable.
Will not get away with it.
Cletus, we have to go, but I just want us to do this. I hear that you put a bounty on the head of, the person who had committed the crime against Eric, and that anyone coming through with information or some other details would get 100,000 cedis. I just want clarity on that. And
yes, that is exactly what
just to wrap up the conversation.
That's exactly what I said. It's coming from me, but the money is not money that Cletus is going to raise himself.
So where's the money coming from?
Oh, a friend of mine wants to provide such money. I don't have that kind of money, but I'm the one that will collect that money and hand over to whoever that will aid us by way of information, credible information,
leading to the
arrest of the perpetrators, those that murdered our
So who
brother.
is this person, coughing up the money?
Well, it's anonymous. It's a friend. It's a friend, a businessman. They have the money.
So it's 100,000 Ghana cedis.
It's 100,000 Ghana cedis. So people should try. Anybody who wants to get cool 100,000 Ghana cedis should give concrete information, concrete evidence to the police, the law enforcement agencies for us to arrest the perpetrators.
All right. Gentlemen, we're going to have to sew it up here. We're very grateful for your time. Dr.
Doug didn't
Dixon
comment about Eric's demise. I wanted you to...
but I think it's obvious what his thinking would be. I think at a point we mentioned that you wouldn't even wish that on your worst enemy. Dr. Dixon Adomaku Kisi is Member of Parliament for Anyaso Wutuom. We also had Cletus Dapilah, Member of Parliament for...
He's my Vice Chairman. I'm a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee.
You mentioned...
My Vice Chairman. I wanted him to be ranking in the next Parliament because they will be in opposition. So I wanted him to still come to Parliament so that he will be the ranking. Because we will be chairing the various committees in 2025.
Samuel Kutetua says he thinks the NDC will get 180 seats in Parliament. How many do you think?
I support him because...
No, so you think 180?
Yeah, we will get.
That would leave your end with 95.
We will control Parliament. We will control Parliament. We are going to have majority.
I hope you're not counting...
support President Mohammed.
You're not counting your chicks before they are hatched.
Not at all.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining the conversation. Up next, we stay on the political terrain because there's a candidate, a presidential candidate. One may even wonder, why now? Why do you want to be president? But he is called George Chumberuma Edu, and he says he wants to break the two. He wants to do away with the MPP and the NDC and come through with a system that will actually take Ghana to the next level. That conversation is up next on AM Exclusive after the break. Do stay. It's a beautiful new day, and we find ourselves in a beautiful space. Yes, belonging to a man who wants to be president. I'm going to be inquiring for him why he even wants to lead a country like Ghana, especially considering where we are. This is a year where we've had a number of people wanting to lead the country. But for him, he says he has a reason, a purpose. I present to you today, AM Exclusive, George Chumberuma Edu, a presidential candidate for the 2024 elections. George, thanks for joining us.
And welcome to my home.
Right off the bat, just tell us a bit about yourself. George Chumberuma Edu, who are you?
Well, I am the third child of Mr. Frank Edu and Mrs. Marian Achampon Edu. I hail from Tafo. I did my primary education at Castle Road Elementary. From there I went to Engelbert International, and then I ended up at Garrison Elementary in Bema Camp, where I took my common entrance. From there I went to Presec, Legon. I'm true that year.
I see.
Yes, that is very true. From Presec, I left for the US, Miami, where I did my first degree and my master's degree as well at Florence International University. From there, I came back to Ghana. I worked at the Insurance Commission till 2001. Okay. And I left the commission. I went to private service. I did set up with my friends a gaming company. We were developing board games and card games. We did a lot of games for DVLA, that is the road user playing cards. Okay. We did, and then now we've gone into digital gaming. So we have some games on the app, both the Apple and the Google stores. And also, I was a director of a company involved in real estate. I came on pension last year, August, and that is who I am.
I see. That's an interesting bit. So it would be apt to call you a businessman.
An entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur.
Yes, please.
Okay. I've heard of people use that term pretty loosely. So in your context, what does entrepreneur mean?
Well, it is, like I said, an entrepreneur is basically somebody who finds solutions. Okay. So why did I set up the gaming company with my friend? We noticed that most Ghanaian drivers, after they pass the driving test, they don't read the highway code anymore. So we thought, okay, why don't we turn the highway code into a game? Okay. And when you play the game, basically you are basically reading the highway code. Right. So to me, an entrepreneur is someone who finds solutions to problems and finds answers to them, and in the process also creates jobs and everybody is wealthy.
Well, that one about the DVLA is actually a very exciting one. You know, how to get them to read the code and make some gains alongside. But tell me, probably the office that no one who wants his or her piece should want to go for right now is what you want to go for. And especially the history of the Fourth Republic and the pressures that the office comes with. Why do you want to be president? Especially at a time like this, the economy is in, I was just reading about inflation inching up marginally again. The exchange rate is what it is. The economy is what it is. We're in the middle of an IMF program. Everybody is complaining about hardship. And you want to superintend over such a country. The question is why?
I think the answer is very simple. For 32 years, we've tried. Both the NPP and the NDC have voted, both of them since we came into the Fourth Republic. And a nation is built by all these people. It's not built by only a section. Currently, what we see right now is that we've gone 32 years and we've actually gone backwards. And the reason is that for the last 32 years, it's been of the country that is attempting to rule or manage the country. So when NDC was in power, they were using only their men and women to govern, and then NPP the same thing. So for Ghana to be where it wants to be, you know, like my friend once told me, it is not who we are, it is what we want to become. So for us to be where we want to be, it is everyone must be involved in nation building, not only a section or a part or a few. And for that to happen, it cannot happen under NPP or NDC or any other party.
Why not?
Because when they come to power, they use only a section of they use only their supporters to govern. Currently NPP is using only NPP members of parliament and only NPP people who support NPP.
But it's not always the case. You remember Papa saying himself an entrepreneur. He worked on before. There have been instances where other people have been brought in?
Yes, so that there's one person out of the millions of Ghanaians who was brought in. Only one person. And it was because that time and they didn't make it to the high office. But we don't need to have that. We need to have a head of state concept, because the Constitution spoke about a head of state, not a head of government. So we need to have a head of state concept where when you win the power, you use all of the Ghanaians. Like I said, no one group or no one section or party can be able to develop the country. It is all of Ghana, all of Ghanaians that can be able to do it. That is why I think it's time for us to look at outside those two parties and look for candidates and people who will come in and govern, using all of Ghanaians to govern and to be where we want to be. Currently, it's not working. Hasn't worked for 30 years, and I assure Benja, if you go that same route, it will not work.
Okay, so the Greek city and we will talk about rule by the people and they vote on everything, but it really became impossible to do, which is why they had different members and the Romans as well, the senators and all of that. You suggest that this is going to be ruled by the people. How low is it going to go? And again, the other concept is the MPP and the NDC. If you look at the research that has been done, talk is that no other person or party will be able to unseat them, not foreseeably, in the near future. It will take quite a bit. Picture the Democratic Party or the Democrats and the Republicans in the United States. That's what it is in Ghana. So what do you think you're bringing that will get Ghanaians to join the bandwagon and say, we're losing the NPP, we're losing the NDC, to follow you? That's a question that anyone will ask you.
Yeah, there's always a first time to anything. We all remember when Barack Obama used the US, when Barack Obama decided to stand. People were like, a black person, no one will vote for him. He doesn't stand a chance. But he said one thing that was very, very important. He said, yes, we can. Yes, we can. And that was what resonated. And America got to understand that, yes, we can. And the same thing I'm saying to Ghanaians today. These two parties, together, it is possible. Together, it is possible for us to break the two and actually build the Ghana we want together. It is possible. It's made. People think it is only about MPP, NDC. It's not about them. It is Ghanaians who has caused that, and actually maybe the press as well. But it is possible to build the Ghana we want without MPP and NDC being in power, actually being part of the building. But let's quickly go back to what you said. I just heard you use the terminology "break the two." What does that mean? Well, when I say break the two, I'm talking about Ghanaians being able to understand one thing, that we have to break this situation where every election, the same party with the executive, with the parliamentary. When they go to power, what they do is what? They pass everything they want to pass because they know that they have the majority. They take bills to parliament. The bills are not scrutinized properly because they whip their members in voting for it. So when I say break the two, it is making sure that Ghanaians vote. We let the parties have parliament because they tend to have people that stand for parliament. So the parties, you're going back to the NDC and the NPP. And the CPP and all of them that stand as political parties. Let them have parliament, but we should look for someone who is not party affiliated to be in the executive. That is how we can have the checks and balances. Let me go back to a clear example. In the Constitution, right, it will take its name from where? Parliament, right? It didn't some of them, yes. Some of them, majority of cabinet from parliament. It didn't say from party A to party B. But unfortunately, that's how happening? They take it all from their party. I mean, before we went outside, one person take it all from their party. And that is supposed to be Ghana, managing the whole of Ghana for the betterment of all of Ghanaians. Right. So that is what I'm saying, that when it says break the two, we're supposed to be able to where the parties are, and we give the executives to a non-party person.
How is that, in terms of practicalizing it, how is that going to be possible without the support of the NPP or the NDC? They have the numbers in Parliament. Do you remember in the election in 2008, 2009, when the late Professor Evans Atta Mills came to power? In the first round, he was actually losing. And, people saw that the NDC had got the numbers in Parliament, and the talk was that, because the parliamentarians will impede his work in Parliament. That's a fair point. So, especially if the NDC and the MPP take up the numbers in Parliament and maybe a few other parties share the spoils, which usually they don't even get. I think the last time I saw any such person in Parliament was Samyan Nkrumah, and then the former MP who has now joined is caucused with the MPP. Beyond these, you don't see those numbers. So it's strictly NDC MPP. How are you going to manage to get the people to vote for you outside of this conundrum, and how will you be able to get those parties to support whatever your viewpoints are? You remember that?
Yes, I think,
and what actually
that I don't think that will happen, because the parliamentarians basically it is their constituencies. I am national, and if the people of Ghana, again, like I said, the committees, before it gets to the parliament, the committees will be involved. All stakeholders will be involved. Organized labor will be involved, all from the committee level. So before it gets to Parliament, they will realize that the people of Ghana and the interest groups are all putting their inputs. And for that matter, they want the bill to be passed. If Parliament thinks it is not a bill that they think the people, because they represent the people, I will put it out and redo it. But I believe that, like I said earlier on, this is a time for Ghanaians, young Ghanaians 18 and above. This is the time. My nephew is 34 years old. For 32 years, he has been in this Fourth Republic, and he hasn't seen any movement. And I say this to the 18-year-olds and those who be 18 by either November or December, don't let this happen to you. It is time for us, like I said, it is possible to break the two and build the Ghana we want. It is possible. We can do it with George Chum Berima Edu.
Well, at least in terms of age, those who would have hit 18 already are those who would register at least 6 months before the elections or something of the sort, looking at the ruling a bit. But in terms of, before we talk about the launch of your campaign and what really you are bringing to bear, you've launched yourself, your candidacy as someone who wants to contend. What's the status with the Electoral Commission?
With the EC, I had a meeting with them on Monday of this week, and that is the Director of Elections, and I believe his deputy, Dr. Srebo, and Kweku Srebo and Kwa. And from what they said to myself and my team, as it stands today, they don't know any candidate. Because until they open the window, and people put in their nomination, and they qualify under Article 63(1), before you become a candidate. So as it stands today, the EC doesn't know me or anybody else who has announced his intention or her intention.
So come the period when they activate, which is soon to happen, then you will follow the processes.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. You're going as a presidential candidate. Usually we'll term it independent. How are you doing this? So no movement, no party. It's just you. You're standing.
Yes.
Okay. How are you going to mobilize across the country? You know, per the Constitution, there are also guidelines. You must have parties and districts. You must have regional offices and a whole. How are you going to manage all that?
That is, if you're a party, you must have parties and guidelines. But according to the Constitution, Article 63(1), anyone who stands as president must have 2 people from a district who are registered voters in that district endorsing his or her form. That is what I must do. Benjamin, before I announced or before I launched on the 29th of January, I've been touring the whole of the country. I've been doing this with my team for over a year. I've gone to every corner of the country. I have ate and slept and spoken with them. I didn't go to Boku and Boku, both Boku districts. I didn't go to Pusika because you go through Boku to go to Pusika, and Garu because of the issues there. Yes, but everywhere I have been there, I have spent days, weeks there.
What have you seen?
That is why we have to break the two. It has been a sad situation. I mean, I don't want to mention names of districts because it's like you are pushing them down. But in some areas, I really wept. Actually wept. You see students who, I mean, kids, not by kids, and it is sad. You see women and mothers and kids walking long distances with buckets and pans to go and fetch water. And you ask yourself, why can't? I mean, it is sad. What I saw, you know, my friends always talk about the North-South divide, and I've always said, but I've been to Tamale, Boku, it looks good. No, you have to go deeper, and you really see that it is truly a stark difference. The poverty
disparities are huge.
It is huge. I mean, it is really bad, and it is sad that we've borrowed so much money, and nothing. There is nothing to show for it in so many parts. Even Western region, where so much of our resources come from. And I spent so much in both Western and Western North. It is really sad. I mean, I spend time with them the mornings. We wake up, we walk about. It is really a sad situation to see. So just back to your question. I didn't start on the 29th. I've been doing this for over a year. Over a year. I've toured everywhere. I have seen and spoken. I have eaten with them. I have slept in their home. I mean, in their guest houses, and I have been with them over a year. And I have seen it myself. And I've spoken. I know the problems that every district has.
And you feel you are up to the challenge. So let me frame it in this way. Just about a fortnight ago, you launched your campaign, right? And you are hoping to be on the ballot and for people to vote for you to become president and execute your plan. The question is, what is the plan? We've heard from the 2 major political parties, the NDC, a 24-hour economy, taking away nuisance taxes, and a plethora of other things. The MPP, now Dr. Bawumia says he will take away the e-levy, betting tax. If VAT on electricity is there, he will take it off. He says he's a driver's mate. I don't know whether you're a mate as well or a driver. What is your blueprint for Ghana? What will you do differently?
First and foremost, my first 100 days, I have no choice but to review all the taxes and levies.
Review all the taxes and levies?
Yes. We are being overtaxed. We are being overlevied. A new one is coming every budget year. A new one is coming. It is just too many of them. That is the first thing that I would do.
Do you have a target? The e-levy, for example, now there's the emissions tax, eco tax, where if you're using a motorbike, you'll pay about 75 Ghana cedis a year. Depending on what type of vehicle, you could pay upwards of 350 cedis thereabouts. Do you have any target?
Yes. So with a review, every form of nuisance, I'll tell the body I'll put in place. You have the free hand. Every nuisance tax that is affecting Ghanaians, entrepreneurs, businesses, companies, industry, and it is let us take it out. The ones that can be reduced, let us see how we're going to reduce it. You ask about where will the lost income come from. My next point with the 100 days will be government wastage. Our issue is not poverty. I say that to everybody. In fact, it is 2 P's. It's not poverty, it is procurement. Procurement. If we can check the loopholes in procurement, we will not have this SML contract. It's procurement. Everything we've gone through and we see, it is all procurement. If we can check procurement, we will solve the issue.
Sole sourcing is not necessarily wrong, but it's about
the law. The law is clear about sole sourcing, and you ask yourself, why don't they follow it? If you go to the Procurement Act, it is very clear. So I mean, that's my next point. With regards to the e-levy, yes, I will repeal it. It makes no sense. But I want to come with something I call the e-credit.
Which is what?
E-levy take from your pocket. E-credit will put in your pocket.
Please explain.
The e-levy, you pay, it goes to government's account. They buy V8s with it. They do travels with it. They do all sort of things they want to do with it. When you pay the e-levy, it goes into your So when you pay what I call the e-credit, it goes into your e-credit account. It is your money. It is like your pension. And as per after we've gone through all the modalities and it's been passed by Parliament, depending on the number of years before you can draw it, it is your money. It's going to be invested, on your behalf. Senate will have nothing to do with it.
So this will be outside of SNIT contribution?
Completely
so
outside.
It's like a different, we have tier 2 and 3, so this could be maybe a tier 4.
And this covers anyone who spends money. And
anyone who transacts.
Anyone who transacts. And currently, about some people have more money to transact. If you transact, that you are going to pay e-credit, which is your money. It goes into your e-credit account tied to your Ghana card. And it is your savings. It's not going to go to government at all. Government has no control of it. And when the time comes, as we go through the laws and the modalities, it's been invested. You say, Benjamin, you've worked for 10 years, this is your e-credit savings, maybe 100,000 cedis, it is your money. All these, one thing we do as Ghanaians every day is we shop, we buy, we spend. Look at all the times we spend money and this money that went to e-levy. It was used for e-credit. You are still saving. So even when you go to sleep, you say, today I've not been able to save, but you spent money. I have saved. So I will bring in e-credit, which is your money.
But the sums that even the e-levy, it's a percentage. It's 1.5%, 1% thereabouts. It's that small. How much is this going to accrue?
Okay, so good point. So when we review all the taxes and remove all these nuisance ones and so many of them, emission levy after we pay sanitation, and there will be the need maybe to, because it's your money, take it up slightly. But it's not for me to sit here and say it. The experts will look at it and they will come up with what is best for us to ensure that when the person selling Coffee Brookman is done at the end of her career, her credit account has accrued so much money that comes to her. She can say, yes, Midasi, at least I've been able to save some money. So yes, that's what I'll bring in place of e-levy. I will, like I said again, I will check all government wastage. It is very, very key. I'll suspend government travel at least for 12 months, unless it is emergency.
When you say government travel, what do you mean?
All government officials, the travels, I will suspend it for at least 12 months for us to review to make sure that this is beneficial. We spend hundreds of millions of dollars every year in traveling as a nation.
But there are some travels that you cannot do away with. You will travel across the sub-region for ECOWAS meetings, UN, and all of that, climate fora, and all that. How are you going to cancel those?
So, like I said, unless the emergency ones that are necessary. The ones we can do by Zoom, we will do by Zoom. It is possible. It is possible to do by Zoom and still achieve the intended purpose. We don't need to take a plane, fly first class with 500 people. We can do so many things and save money.
Are you referencing the latest COP? Is it COP 28? Is that?
Well, no. I mean, I'm just referencing the amount of times we travel as a government. Business class, first class, we need to suspend it. I will put a ceiling on government vehicles. For example, why spend $130,000 in buying V8s? While that's safe, you can get a good 4-wheel drive for far, far less. 50,000, 40,000, including duty. It is what we want to, like I said, it is not who we are, but what we want to become. As I said, it's what we want to become. You want to become a nation that taxes everyone and spends it on things that really are not of need or things that after the next day, when you buy a vehicle, the next moment you leave the showroom, it's lost value.
Exactly.
So why go spend $130,000 and the next second it's lost value? That money you can still achieve that vehicle you want to buy. You can still get a 4-wheel, far less.
Right. So in terms of even these travels and all of that, you didn't even add per diem and everything.
When
you factor those in, then it becomes quite a problem. But beyond these, beyond taking away taxes, and that's easy to say. This current administration's called some taxes nuisance taxes. Now they've come on and they've added on to those taxes. We are the only country in the world still paying a COVID-19 levy. I don't even know any other country that instituted that. But beyond, you call it e-credit and taking away taxes, there are two crucial issues that Ghanaians are contemplating in this election: the economy and corruption. How are you going to deal with these? Let's start with the economy. What else will you do? IMF program around your neck, limited funds, limited windows for leverage. You don't have the credit markets at your disposal. How are you going to manage the economy?
I've asked myself that, do the political parties actually ask this question? So for 17 years we've gone to IMF. That's IMF
17 times.
Yeah, sorry, 17 times we've gone to IMF. Do they have a clue for Ghana? If they really did, don't you think the first, second, third time would have done it by now? So you ask yourself, must we be going to IMF? What is the problem? Maybe we are the problem of IMF. So yes, the economy is key. And my main thing about the economy is building, my vision is having a Ghana that is self-reliant, is able to feed her children.
That sounds to me like Ghana beyond aid, but look at us.
Because, again,
we touted that.
Yes, and doesn't need aid to survive.
But no country, even the US, gets aid. The US is one of the most indebted countries in the world. They owe trillions of dollars, but of course, because of the mechanisms and the draw on their GDP,
yes,
we don't have that. So having a debt overhang is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's about the other dynamics.
No, having a debt overhang is not a bad thing. I mean, Gabriel talked about deficit budget, which most governments now do. It's not a bad thing, but being able to manage it. Exactly. If it goes overboard, then you lose control. That's what has happened to us. So one of the policies I have in mind is what I call DDI, domestic direct investment. It's like the opposite of the FDI. We have the foreign direct investment. But the DDI here is the opposite one. Anybody in Ghana, Ghanaian or non-Ghanaian, who invests their money in Ghana using locally sourced raw materials, your tax obviously will be far, far, far low. Very low. You will get all the support of my government, because the idea is to build an economy that is resilient, that is local, that is strong, and be able to also create jobs. And one main thing which I really want to do is I looked at the pay structure of Ghana and Ghanaians. It is really bad. It is really poor. I mean, it is like $50, $60 a month. It is something that is tough to build an economy on. So all these things we have to look at in terms of how we get the economy going, how we get Ghanaians owning the key areas of the economy in terms of banking, telecommunications, industry, agriculture. So with the DDI, it cuts across. if you are into agriculture, we will do linkages. So now, we want to do agric. We will ask you, for example, what do you want to plant? You want to plant, okay, good. You want to plant rice. We make sure that it is linked to the mills. It is linked to the schools. It is linked to industry. So that there's an offtake for you the moment you start. I was in, is it Busa South? Parks constituency. And I was in the Rice Valley. And you see acres of rice cultivated. And you see that they don't have a taker. They were promised that a company called Farmline. That's what the farmers told me. And Farmline, they can't find Farmline. And I was like, so what are you guys going to do? It's like, we have called our MP. He's helping us. He's doing everything to help us, which was true. But it shouldn't happen. If you're going to plant rice, there must be an offtake because we are linking everything with all the industries. So if somebody is going to set up an industry under DDI, we'll say, you know what, do something concerning rice, meal, corn, cereals. Everything is linkage, and we build an economy that way. In that case, we empower Ghanaians, we enrich Ghanaians, we create wealth. One other thing I want to also do is the districts. Like I said, I've been to almost 255, 56 districts out of the 261. And I realized that the youth are completely not part of the districts. You speak to the DC or the MC, you speak to the planning officers, and, well, it is what it is. That's what they'll tell you. So I said to myself, and when you go to the districts, right, they have on their board their IGFs. They have it all on their boards. Yeah, they have it all on their boards. I think it was Shama that I saw that generated quite a high IGF. And apart from that, they said their common fund has delayed they're about 3 months behind. They've not been paid. And everything comes from central government. So I said to myself, okay, you know what? What if all the government contracts come into the assemblies? There are so many of them that are not sophisticated at all. Sanitation, drainage, distilling gutters, bus stops. These are not like big time stuff. The youth who are qualified in that district, it should be given to them. But these contracts come, they say with already somebody's name on it. And the youth are there, they have been left.
And the politics comes into it. Let me take you back to a quick point before we accelerate. So you say that you're going to do all of these things, but the question is, where are you going to get the money from? Now I pose that because payments, our governments, the expenditure, they pay a lot to public sector workers. When you look at the expenditure of government and how much they pay, it's a huge sum. How are you going to get funds in an IMF program to execute some of the things you're talking about?
Like I said again, and I say it again and again, as for the funding issue, I don't think it's a problem. When I say it, people think, George, I say, no, I'm telling you the truth. Because
But you have to explain that.
Yes, again, like I said.
Right. Again, I'll point you to the past. And Ghanaians have become very inured to some of this talk. They have said, you remember, Yatisikaso? Look at where we are.
Benjamin, if you spend $1 million to brand a bus, that's my point. You spend $1 million to brand a bus. That was 12,000 cedis.
Are you referring to the
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm talking about a company. There is money in this country. Like I said, procurement is our issue. Procurement, Benjamin, that is our issue. We are wasting money because we are not checking the wastage. And if you spend it, like I said, and the money was taken from the oil fund, just brand a bus. If you spend $110 million to give to someone to do a job that MPA is doing, the money is there, Benjamin.
The devil is in the detail. How will you improve procurement? Because look,
that is the
Vice President says for him he's going to, and I think we should really probe some of these, but he says he's going to make contracts public so that for public scrutiny. And people have asked, how about now? The Member of Parliament for Norton has been putting out there that he has an expose on contracts and that a lot of them, practically all of them, are sole sourced. How can we sanitize that? Since you're hammering on it, I want to know what exactly you have in mind.
There are two areas that Dr. Bawumia mentioned that I do agree with him a lot. That is throwing sunlight on the contracts. It's something which I've said myself I'll do. And the cashless economy. If government officials know that this contract will be published, people who are experts will see, they will comment. I call something the pink edition, which I say to my friends, and they ask me, what is the pink edition? So the pink edition is, then we're not using basically internet wasn't that frequent. It was that any contract that is being discussed by government, Daily Graphic would do a pink edition of the contract and insert for Ghanaians to see and read. As I said to my friends many times, I call it the pink edition. So that when I agree with Dr. Bawumia, it has to be done because procurement has to be cured.
His administration has been in power for close to 8 years. Is it now that they've got the epiphany? I don't know.
That is for him and his government and his people to answer. But as for me, procurement is my key because that is where the money is.
Beyond the pink edition, how do you mean to do it? You are also saying that you're going to fall on these same NPP and NDC people in terms of taking up ministerial positions and all of that. They are the same people who have left us where we are in terms of procurement. What makes you think they'll act any different? Because
they've been allowed to. You see, where the head of state, the president, the head of government is not going to allow you to do it, you will not, because they've been allowed to. It has gone off track because they've been allowed to do it, and for that matter, they are doing it. But if I say that there is no contract by any government agency, not only the ministries, but any government, that Ghana government has a majority shareholding in it, that my government will not scrutinize before it is signed. That's what is going to happen. There's not going to be every contract. We will make sure that it passes the test.
Right.
And we are getting the value for money before I will say it should go ahead and sign it.
Before I come to corruption, so President Mahama, the former president, has spoken about a 24-hour economy. I bring it up because you also, I think I heard you at the launch also talk about something similar. Dr. Bawumia has also spoken about something in terms of mobile money interoperability. What is your version of the 24-hour economy? It appears everyone is going that way now.
Well, again, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. What I believe is we can do the 16-hour economy now.
16-hour economy.
Now. That is from 6 to 10 p.m. From 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., we can do it now. Because when I drive through town around 11:30, 11 p.m., there's still activity. I was at Ofanko, and I was like, wow. I was like about 10:30 p.m. It was very busy. The street
life. Places like that where it goes on. La Paz.
Yes. Yeah. So we can do this. You can do 16-hour now, whilst we're working towards 24-hour.
Now, what will go into the 16-hour economy?
The same thing that is going. So we'll try and harmonize it. And one thing I say, for us to be able for people to be able to create wealth, there has to be some organization. So, like I said, when I was in Amafanko, and there were a lot of these people selling secondhand shoes and clothing on the pavements, and I was interacting with them. And I was asking them, so what do they think that can be done? That first I asked them how much they make like in a day, a week. We're like, oh, Master, you have more dear, maybe 800 cedis for the month. That is as profit. And I'm like, but they work in the daytime also somewhere else. So I'm like, okay, so we doing one. Then they bet me a year oh, and come here, baby, I bet me a ton. It will help me. So be a main. But now saying broker and then I'm quiet. So if you can to have,
they could have stalls or some place where they could
like what you have in Rwanda, a hawkers market, which is properly laid out and organized, and is streamlined across every district, and that's part of my plan. Have a properly laid out and organized, not the markets I have been to. I was at where was it? Is it Bechem? And I went to their market. And they built these new markets by the assemblies. And I'm like, what have you built? You have the money, do it properly. Lay it out, let them be able to see that when I walk into the place, I feel that I am in the proper place. So I said, okay, let us see how we can be able to, in every district, get an enclave as a hawkers market, well laid out, well planned, well landscaped. We have your clinics, you have your crèche, your schools, everything is there. When they come, they are able to do it. And you can stretch, that is 16 hours, it is laid out. You have the bar systems as well in place. 16 hours can be done now. I agree with John Mohammed's 24 hours, but I think we can do 16 hours now. One other thing also I want to say, I mean, I believe in rest and leisure a lot.
You believe in?
Rest and leisure. Rest and leisure. Okay. And I think the Constitution even spoke about it under the section on human rights. So I believe, frankly, that we need a 40-hour, 4-day a week.
40 hours?
4-day a week. 8 to 6 p.m.
So people work from when to when?
Monday to Thursday. You have your 3 days off. You can do your own business. You can plan that I have Friday off, Saturday off, Sunday off. Let me get some small business, and I do that to augment my other business.
Will that not impact the economy? Will it rather make the economy grow?
How
if you're giving them Friday off. It is general economy.
It is still 40-hour a week. So AGI and the rest, definitely before it comes into being, there will be a stakeholder discussion. Obviously, with all the stakeholders, including organized labor, AGI, and everyone else. But it is still 40 hours a week, from 8 to 6 p.m. The bus systems will be in place such that, or the transport system, so like the rush hours from the morning and the evening, you have the police making sure that the bus lanes are made available so that people can leave their homes, get to work early, leave work and get home early. That is, like I said, it is not who we are, it's what we want to become. So if it is a policy that want to do this, we put in place all the systems to do it. But I think we need to have a 40-day 40-hour 4-day a week.
So if it's going to be 40 hours, that would literally be 8 to 4 p.m.
8 till 6 p.m.
That would be 10 hours.
That would be 10 hours, yes.
Yes, so 8 to 4 is already 4 hours. Then till 4 p.m., that's another 4 hours. So that would be 8 hours, right?
No, 8 till 10 p.m. is 10 hours a day, 4 days.
So let's do this. 8 till 12 is 4 hours, right? So if you go to 6, then it is 10 hours.
Yes.
So is it that would be a 10-hour system? So that would be more than, that would be about...
with a 1-hour break.
Okay, so 4 days, right?
4 days.
Okay, so it will still be the 40.
Thank you, yes.
40 hours.
Yes.
I was just not getting it because you were saying, I mean, if it's 8 hours, then it's going to be. So in other words, what you're basically saying is you are going to pick 2 hours from every day in addition from Friday, and bring it back, but we give you Friday so it's still the same thing, but you get a day
extra.
Now you would have paid for the day in the course of the week.
Yes. Now you have your 3-day long weekend. You can plan your business. You want to do business. You want to rest. You want to go to you want to go to your hometown. It is your 3 days. Rest. Do whatever you want to do. Farm. Do your side business.
You have some interesting...
I just pray that the churches will not take it the Friday away, though.
Well, maybe that's another conversation we should have, especially looking at what is happening in Rwanda and sanitizing the space. I'm very Christian, but I also feel there are too many excesses in that system. Corruption. We've been falling on the corruption perception index. I mean, if you're in Ghana, you know it is rife. You don't even need anybody to tell you. How will you tackle it?
I think corruption is something that, again, like I said, all depends on the man at the top.
The man at the top.
Yes. The late Magufuli, Magufuli of Tanzania. When I was having a discussion with some of the people back then when he was president, it's like, George, it has changed. Since he became president, he doesn't allow any of these things around. If you come to my office and you give me anything, I don't want it because you don't know who is going to tell who and who's going to tell who. So it depends on the man at the top. When the man at the top, they see that he it's not going to allow it. So the first thing is what, like I said, I support what Dr. Bawumia said. All contracts should be made open. People will see it. Every contract should be vetted, making sure that we're getting the right price. No matter who you are, you go through the process. Where you fall, what's it called, foul of the law, the law will take its course. Basically, like I said, because there is no, at the moment we've had head of governments. So when the party people get into problems, they protect them. When the other party people get into problems, then they go after them. But if it's actually the head of state, what I'll do is to ensure that, like I said, to tackle corruption, procurement is the first step. That is the first step when you sanitize that area, and then the AG is brought in to make sure that everything is done. So yes, it will start from procurement, and then it will move on to the law. The OSP, IOCO, they all have their roles to play. So that is how I'll go. I'll start from procurement first, and make sure that it doesn't get to any bad stage because.
But we have all these institutions. They have not been able to achieve that end of ridding our country of at least most of the practices. The Office of the Special Prosecutor. You've heard him lament time and again which of the issues from Cecilia Dapilah to what's that gentleman's name? Charles Bisu to all the others in between.
And
the PPA boss.
Thank you very much. PPA boss.
I mean, yes. Nothing really happens, and you can't expect the AG to do that because the Attorney General, stands in the name of government.
Yes, so the AG comes in to make sure that the contract being signed is right, and that is what as I said earlier on. That is why together Ghanaians we must break the two. They've done it, the two parties, for 32 years. They've not been able to tackle it first. I think the Procurement Act came under Kufuor. It was not there under Rawlings. So since Kufuor's time till now, it's gotten worse since the Act came into being. This is the time we have to, like I said in my speech when I did my launch, take the bull by the horns and actually chart our own rapid development. It is possible, my friends, my brothers, my sisters, fellow Ghanaians, it is possible for us to be able to break the two and build the Ghana we want together. It is very possible. Let us do it together so that we can be able to change the course of this nation and have a nation that we own, is self-reliant. We don't need to depend on foreign aid or go to the IMF. In fact, there will not be an 18th time to that in the IMF. Never under my government.
Two final things, maybe very briefly in a minute or two. Would you be open to a presidential debate? I see a lot of candidates shy away from it, and I ask myself why. If you want to lead, you should be able to answer the tough questions, stand and be bombarded on the different areas of our national life, and be able to share what you want to do. If there were such a thing, would you be willing to participate?
I am not against a presidential debate. My applause, because the last time I think I heard, the IE or something, that they want only parties that are in parliament.
Right.
And that is where the problem lies. We keep on uplifting these two parties, and they keep on letting us down. So if, like I said to Dr. Sribo when I met with the EC, Doc, please don't call me an independent candidate, because the Constitution doesn't have that term. It says anybody who wants to stand for president. So we are presidential candidates. So those who will organize the presidential debates, if they put us all in the equal footing, sure. But if they do what they did last time, I won't partake. Where they put the parties different one, and then the others, no.
It is still the AM show right here on Joy News with me, Sweetie Abochi. You were just watching AM Exclusive with Benjamin Akakpo and George Chumberemedu, who wants to be president. And something he said that was interesting is if he's voted in power, he wants to take the bull by the horn. And hopefully someone comes to this country, assumes the president's seat, and actually takes the bull by the horn and drives developments for the country. But it's time now for us to have a conversation with DBS. I'm sure you've seen signboards all over DBS products, especially in roofing. I'm joined in the studio by the General Manager of Sales and Marketing, Kelvin George Muzaya. Welcome on the show. And James Kweku Senu. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We know DBS. We've seen DBS all over the place. Briefly, tell us what DBS is and what you do.
Okay, so DBS is a Ghanaian-owned company.
Yeah.
That's mostly known for roofing sheets.
Okay.
But over the years, we've introduced a new line. So we have concrete products as well. We have building blocks. That's the solid and hollow blocks in both the 5 inches and 6 inches. We have pavement blocks, we have ready-mix concrete, we also have steel products, we have galvanized pipes, round and square, we have prefabricated steel structures. So it's quite a big umbrella.
Did you say Ghanaian company?
Yes.
So do you produce all your stuff, all these concrete things you're talking about?
Yes,
do you produce them right here in the country?
We do everything here.
Oh, okay.
Everything is done here, yes.
Well, you talked about trusses?
Yes.
Why?
That is, so the trusses is basically the bed that the roof sits on. So instead of using wood, you use the steel trusses. But someone asked, what's the benefits? What do I get when I'm using the trusses? With the steel trusses, it's light gauge steel. So the pressure that is exerted on the building is quite minute. Everything is cut to precision, where in the case of the wood, there's a lot of wastage. There have been cases where somebody will have the woodwork done and the person is out of funds. Then it will rain, the sun is shining, it's raining, the sun is shining, and it just wastes away. But for the steel trusses, once it's there, it can stand the test of time. So yeah, basically the steel, and when we're looking at the price, there's not that much of a difference between the steel trusses and the wood.
Really? You know, mostly when people talk about trusses, someone with an events background will think about weddings and, you know, you mount trusses to build. Are you saying that trusses are less expensive than wood?
Not less expensive, but it's competitive. There's not that much of a difference. That's why we urge them to go for the steel trusses rather. And also we have to think about the environment. We can't keep, you know, cutting our trees down for things like that.
So what makes DBS a better option for those looking to get products that you produce? I mean, you have other competitors. What makes you different? What's your unique selling proposition?
Yeah, so I always say three key things makes us so different from other industry players. The one has to do with the quality of the material that we have. And the next one has to do with the varieties of roofing that we have, because we are only in the industry which has all the roofing, being modern self-lock, IDT. The IDT is the industrial deep trough, and we have the IBL, that's embedded box roof. We have shingles, and aside shingles, we have Eurotiles. Eurotiles has an aluzinc base with a stone coat finish, and we normally have aluminium, to which on most occasions we do recommend for projects along the coastal belt of Ghana. So some of this, and when you go to other industries or other institutions, you only get just a product. But when you come to DBS, we have all these products. And aside, we have on our cladding products, we are the only industry that gives 20 years anti-fading warranty.
The only industry?
Yes, only roofing industry that gives you 20 years anti-fading warranty.
Okay, so when someone buys your product, they have 20 years to come back if something goes wrong with the product?
So when someone buys our product, that's our ColorLink product. And I need to...
What's ColorLink product?
ColorLink is one of our brand of material. For instance, we have Colorbond, we have AZ150, but our brand is ColorLink.
Okay.
So it's one of our brands. We have other brands as well. So that's our topmost brand. So when you purchase our ColorLink products, we will issue you 20 years anti-fading warranty. on that product.
So if the product fails, they can come back to you and get new ones.
Yeah, terms and conditions apply. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
We understand you have new products. You've introduced some new products on the market. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Okay. And just to add to what he said, which will also take away the next question. You know, a lot of the companies that we are competing with are only offering roofing products.
Okay.
But you know, we've also introduced more. So from the foundation level to the roofing level, DBS has got you covered. There's no need to get concrete from one side, get roofing from one side, get blocks from one side. When you come to DBS, it's a one-stop shop. So our concrete products, which is our ready-mix concrete, there's no need to be mixing sand, cement at sites. We are producing everything and bringing it straight to the sites. And we have pumps that can pump concrete up to 10-story buildings. So the steel products as well, the pipes, the roofing. So it's basically, you get everything. You get everything.
Aside providing all these quality products, what else are you doing, to add to Ghana's quest for development as a Ghanaian-owned company who are experts in roofing? Would you say you're doing anything that's, contributing to the development of the country?
Yeah, I think we have been doing that. We have always been doing that. For instance, let me use a habitat fair like this. You see, there's a housing deficit, and a habitat fair is one of the mediums that we give a huge discount. Just we are doing is that to reduce some of the housing deficits that we have. So when you come in house, we have some good and juicy package for our customers. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think you're doing a great job. Any final words before we wrap this up?
Yes, I'll urge those watching to deal with us directly. We have branches all over the country. We are in Kumasi, we are in Tamale, we are in Sunyani. We are all over. We have branches dotted all over. So walk into any of our offices. You can call any of our numbers. I think I'll give that out shortly.
Please do. Give out your number. If someone wants to contact you, what do they? Yeah.
So in Accra, we are on the Spintex Road next to Papaye. We also have a branch at Sapeman. That's close to the Amasama in China Mall. In Accra, you can call us on 0240 84 44 44.
The numbers are on your screen, yeah.
0240 84 44 44. We also have a toll-free number, which is 0800 62 6262. 0800 62 6262. In Kumasi, you can reach us on 050 600 4141. That's 050 600 4141. Takrade is 050 600 4242.
All right. Thank you so much, Kelvin and James, for joining us on this conversation. If you're looking for anything roofing, experts in roofing, then DBS is your best bet. Still on the AM show, we opened the phone lines for you to join the conversation. But there was something that caught my attention this morning that I think was interesting. I don't know if you know the story of a Chinese inmate who escaped from prison when he was taken to the hospital. Now, the hospital has come out to release a statement saying that he didn't really escape under their watch. So according to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, they're saying that on Wednesday, that's February 7th, this inmates came into the hospital accompanied by 2 security guards and went through the processes. Okay. I'll bring you updates on that. There's another interview. We'll be back in a jiffy. Final leg on the AM show this morning. We are going to talk about an inter-school reading competition. It's an annual competition organized by Pebi Cubs in collaboration with UNESCO as part of activities to celebrate Accra's selection of UNESCO's World Book Capital for 2023 to promote literacy skills and foster a love for reading, among others. Good morning, Thelma and Sarah. Welcome to the studio. I like that you have written Carnival in a very different way. Yes. Tell me a little bit about that, considering this is a inter-school reading competition.
Yes. So in 2023, Accra was selected as UNESCO's World Book Capital, and that's a huge honor. And cities that are selected as UNESCO's World Book Capital commit to fostering a love of reading for 1 year and beyond. So at Perby Caps, we are an EdTech, and we decided to do something fun, a social service behavior change campaign called Carnival. So Kane is in Ga means to read.
Yeah.
So we have Carnival, which is like a plethora of fun activities.
Yeah.
So at Perby Caps, we decided to have these fun activities called Carnival. It's a year-long activity where we go to schools, different schools. We go there, we engage the children in reading activities, basically just to foster a love of reading, to nurture a love of reading among all the children we work with.
Right, but it's a quiz, right? What's the format of the quiz?
Okay, so as
Do you
part
want
of
to
Carnival,
okay,
yes, I would like Thelma to also expound on that.
Right, so the inter-school reading quiz came out of the partnership with UNESCO. And so it is such that schools register, the children also register, the children in the schools would register, and then they partake in the reading process. So we have a digital library platform on which the children access a wide range of books, thousands of books as a matter of fact, and they can read and select from any book that they want to read, mystery books, sports, whatever range of book or whatever piques their interest, they can choose from that and then read. And so the format is that you read, you take comprehension quizzes, then you earn points, and your school qualifies to the next stage of the competition.
There are a number of these educational competitions, especially reading and writing. Apart from your support from UNESCO or your collaboration with UNESCO, what else sets you apart? What makes you different?
So I'll say that at Perby Cubs, we want everyone to read. And when we mean everyone, we mean everyone in the school. And unlike certain quizzes where in the whole school we select 2 people or 1 person to represent the whole school, at Perby Caps we are providing the opportunity for all the children in the school to read. So we are looking to get thousands and 10,000s of children in each school reading. And we think that that will help to drive a love of reading that would take them beyond the basic level, into the secondary level, and into the future. So that's what sets us apart. We are there for every cub, every child to read.
I like the use of cub.
Yes.
Yeah, they're training lion to become lions.
Yes.
So how do students and other young people watching you right now who want to join the competition, how do they get aboard?
Yes, so you can go to perbycaps.com/quiz or call
053-520-7920. We have a team on standby to assist you to register. We want schools to register. We are happy to have both private and public schools on board and the children in these schools. We have 1,000+ children on the platform already reading, and the qualification stage starts today. So it's a 21 days qualification process where you are you're reading every single day, taking the comprehension quizzes and earning your points, and we are still encouraging a lot more people to.
So that's the number on your screens.
Yeah.
I'm sure you need help, because this is a big thing. If you're expecting thousands of people to help you, how do those who want to sponsor or get aboard and offer any sort of help, how do they get in touch with you?
Yes, through the same medium.
Okay,
so you can call us on 053-520-7920, and our team is on standby. We're looking for partners for success. You're not just partnering for the quiz, you're partnering to make a difference in the life of a child.
All right. Any final words before we wrap this up? Are you accepting elderly people like me? Because I want to join the reading.
So it's actually for children between the ages of 6 and 14 years,
Okay.
and we want every child to get on board. We are trying to ignite a vibrant culture of reading, every child on board to read. There is actually a strong correlation per research between reading and success, not just academically, but throughout life. And so that is what we are fostering. And so we are calling on all children, all parents, mommies and daddies. If you want to see your child succeed, then please register your child on the Perby Caps Digital Library platform to take part in the quiz. And there is a fantastic prize attached to it, a free 2-week trip to Canada for the winning team, for the children that will win the competition.
I think you should re-examine the cut-off points, because I want to But anyway, I'm sure you already have some sponsors on board. Any final words to them or every other person watching right now?
Yes, so thank you so far to everyone who has partnered with us, and we look forward to having more people come on board to partner with us.
Yes, and a big thank you to Multimedia as well. We are in partnership with Multimedia, and we're excited about it. We also want to say a big thank you to UNESCO. I mean, it's been an exciting ride so far, partnering with them on the Carnival and the Inter-School Reading Quiz, and yeah, it's exciting. Everybody should come on board. Free trip to Canada for the winning cups.
Right, that's how we're wrapping up. You know, the way you guys talk, no wonder you are in this industry, you know. So, of course, congratulations, and I hope that you get sponsors and thousands of young people come aboard so that, you know, the reading culture of the country goes beyond where it already is. My name is Sweetie Abochi. I did this with Benjamin Akakpo. This is the AM show, the best breakfast show on the block. Join us again tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Have a good day.